Great, and that should be everybody.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, good evening. I am calling this public hearing to order. In accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, MGLC 131, Section 40 in the Boston Wetlands Ordinance, Boston City Code. Ordinances Chapter 7 1.4. The Boston Conservation Commission will hold this virtual public hearing this evening at 6 p.m. on August 6, 2025, to review the following projects to determine what conditions, if any, the commission will impose in order to protect the interests of the public and private water supply, groundwater, prevention of pollution, flood control, prevention of storm damage, protection of fisheries and land containing shellfish, and protection of wildlife habitat. This evening's hearings will be followed by a regular meeting. In accordance with Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022, we are conducting this meeting online. To ensure public access to the deliberations of the Conservation Commission, the public may access this call through telephone and video conferencing. Additionally, the meeting is being recorded. If you do not wish to be recorded, please turn off your video. Members of the public may have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on applications and discussions. To do so, please raise your hand or type in the chat in the application via the Zoom meeting platform. If you're calling in and cannot use the platform, you can raise your hand by pressing *9 and *6 to unmute yourself, or send your questions to staff via email at cc@boston.gov. For the record, I am Michael Parker, Chair of the Commission. Could staff please identify themselves?
Elena Itamari with the Environment Department.
Dee Dee Hernandez with the Environment Department.
Max Harledge with the Environment Department.
Great, thank you. Okay, I'll call the roll of commissioners present. Commissioner Sullivan,
John Sullivan.
Commissioner Linay,
Amy Linay.
Commissioner Wilson,
Mike Wilson.
Commissioner Conan,
Tiruvengudam.
Commissioner Estes Smargiassi,
Steve Estes Smargiassi.
Commissioner Herbst.
Ian Herbst.
Great, thank you. Okay, first item on the agenda this evening is notice of intent for DEP file number 006-2037 in Boston file number 2025-012 from 686 Architects on behalf of David Collins for the demolition of an existing building and the construction of a multifamily dwelling with an accompanying ground level parking and drainage improvements at 5 Warren Ave and Hyde Park. Resource areas bordering land subject to flooding, 100-foot buffer to bank, 25-foot riverfront area, and 25-foot waterfront area. The applicant was still putting together materials that we asked for in our June 25th, 2025 hearing. So they have asked to be continued. So with that, I would entertain a motion to continue this hearing.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Sullivan,
Aye.
Commissioner Linay,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Conan,
Aye.
Commissioner Estes Smargiassi,
On.
Commissioner Herbst,
Aye.
and I vote aye, so that carries 7-0. Okay, next item on the agenda, notice of intent for DEP file number 006-2050 in Boston file number 2025-022 from Goddard Consulting LLC on behalf of the AD Group Company for the proposed construction of an apartment building, access drive, parking lot, and the installation of associated utility lines and stormwater management system at 24 Stimson Street in West Roxbury. The resource areas are 100-foot buffer to isolated vegetated wetlands and isolated lands subject to flooding. Who's here on behalf of the proponent?
Tom Schutz from Goddard Consulting is here on behalf of the applicant.
Okay, floor is all yours.
We do have a presentation that we'd like to share with the commission, if that's all right. I think that was sent in. So just a quick PowerPoint to go through the proposed conditions. I don't know if Elena could pull that up. Ooh, sorry, I was
Should
on
be
the
right there.
Sorry, I was on the wrong screen. I was looking at the meeting instead. All right.
Okay.
Awesome. This is 24 Stimson Street. This is here on behalf of the applicant, Tom Schutz from Goddard Consulting. I'll let the team also introduce themselves because we have a number of people on the call as well here on behalf of the project.
Andreas Huang, I'm the developer.
John Plagini, zoning attorney.
Kevin Queddy, civil engineer.
Katya Posadlo, Verdant Landscape Architecture.
Awesome.
Zackerson, Context, the architect.
Awesome. I think we can go to the next slide. just a brief agenda here. So we'll start with some existing conditions, look at an ortho photo, describe the area, then we'll move into proposed conditions, the landscape plan, the building footprint and how it's evolved over time through several boards that we've gone through. We'll look at the civil plans, the shadow study, and then we'll close it up with any questions or follow-up discussion. We can move on. So here we're looking at an ortho photo of the locus site. The property boundary is highlighted in red. This is a fully undeveloped lot that we're looking at, and it is currently forested with mostly invasive trees consisting of Norway maple, and there's also a lot of invasive shrubs such as buckthorn and burning bush out there. It's bordered by commercial property and a parking lot to the west, residential properties to the north, condominium properties to the east, and then an isolated vegetated wetland to the south in an undeveloped lot. We can move on. So the existing wetland conditions on site consist of an isolated vegetated wetland, which is shown in the blue color. It just inches its way onto the southern portion of the property there, and it casts the 100-foot buffer zone shown in tan onto the locust site. This buffer zone is only jurisdictional under the Boston Wetland Ordinance, and that would be the same for the isolated wetland. We're also going to have a 25-foot strip, which we'll see in the proposed conditions there. That's going to be undisturbed. And the only Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act jurisdictional resource area on the site is the isolated land subject to flooding, which is shown in the green line color, which is protruding onto the southern property boundary there into that 25-foot zone. It's not located within any estimated or priority habitat for rare wildlife. It's not within an ACEC, outstanding resource water area, or a FEMA flood zone, and there are no certified or potential vernal pools on the locust site. Next slide. We also have a tree survey for the commission. This was stamped and completed as well and submitted as part of the application. It's for the buffer zone only, as that is the only jurisdictional area for this commission itself. But the trees that will be removed are noted on the site plan. And then also some additional trees within that 25-foot undisturbed strip, which we'll talk about, are also noted. Isolated wetland is shown down there to the south, and then Simpson Street to the north. Next slide. So the applicant proposes the construction of an apartment building in the northwestern portion of the site that is shown in the tan color there, an associated access drive which will run down the eastern portion of the lot down adjacent to the diagonal property boundary. It's also going to have a full stormwater management system which adheres to the stormwater management guidelines. All the proposed work is within just the buffer zone to the isolated wetland. There's no work within 25 feet from the isolated wetland itself or within the isolated land subject to flooding. That's, as you can see, the tan is encompassing the bottom half of the proposed building and then also some of the parking, which is shown more in the darker gray color. There's some spots that you could see through the transparent tan color, but none of it is actually impacting the isolated wetland. And then we're also keeping that strip, which is the orange color, 25 feet from the wetland, to keep it undisturbed and forested to allow some buffer, natural buffer to that wetland itself. Next slide. This is showing the limit of work and where the actual construction pathway will take place. Will be coming in from Stimson Street up where that hatch color is, and then down adjacent to it. The limit of work is shown in yellow on this site plan, and the limited work is going to consist of filter sock, which is going to be secured with wooden stakes. And yeah, next slide. Some more erosion related things. We have a stabilized construction entrance consisting of double wash stone. Again, our erosion control barriers consist of the compost filter sock with wooden stakes securing it in. The inlet for the stormwater management system is going to be protected with silt socks. That's going to be in the catch basins. And then there's also going to be a proposed walkway and driveway adjacent to the access drive. Next slide. This is just a table for the impact to the buffer zone on site. As you can see, there's 10,000 square feet of total buffer zone on site, and we're going to be impacting about 8,600 of it. Another note is that we're not going to be impacting 25 feet from the isolated wetland, but we won't be impacting the isolated land to flooding or the IVW itself. Next. I'll be turning over to Katya for the description of the landscaping plan.
Thank you. Again, my name is Katya Pasadlo with Verdant Landscape Architecture. Landscape has pretty much three primary components. The top of the page on Stimson Street, we've developed a very welcoming front entry to the front door and lobby entrance for pedestrians. The entry would be highlighted with permeable pavers and flanked with durable varied plantings at the front door facing that Stimson Street. Currently, there are no sidewalks on this side of Stimson Street, so we were proposing to add public right-of-way, concrete paved sidewalk as well. All the new fencing that we're proposing along this side and the rear property line and outside although not on within the 25-foot resource area, but on the retaining wall that I'll describe in a second, will be a metal picket fence. And another thing to note would be, as was already described, that right-hand edge or the eastern edge of the site is the driveway access to the rear of the building where the parking is located. And at that parking area in the rear, there's a turnaround in the right-hand corner that's colored in green here because it will be turf stone with an image there illustrating that style of permeable paver just on the right that you can see. Next page, please. The site slopes down from 116 at the front down to about 112 at that rear parking area. And then down to the IVW is at elevation 107. So we are proposing a retaining wall to hold that parking lot more or less level, although the driveway does slope down a little bit, and to retain the slope above that elevation of 107 in the IVW. The retaining wall is located, outside the 25-foot undisturbed zone, although it ranges from height from I think 2 feet tall to about 6 feet. And on this page, we're highlighting the plantings that we're proposing outside the 25-foot buffer around that parking area and up the edge a little bit, including things like arborvitae, a black tupelo tree, some hydrangea, switchgrass, creeping thyme in the open joints of the turf stone paver at that turnaround area. If you go to the next and last landscape page, we're highlighting the plantings that are proposed within the 25-foot resource area on this page. The existing dominant species, as Tom described, are Norway maple, although there is also a lot of knotweed and barberry in the understory. I think Tom can outline any methodologies if you're curious about invasive species removal, which will open up some areas so that we can do some native plant restoration in this zone, which we're proposing, including serviceberry, hazelnut, bayberry, and summersweet. Thank you. I'll turn it over to, I believe, maybe back to Tom. Not sure. Or Eric.
Okay,
Oh, we can't hear you, Tom.
Sorry. This is something that we discussed on the site walk with Elena and the rest of the environmental crew. That we noted a lot of birds in this area. So one thing we wanted to make sure was that we were preventing avian collision into the windows. So we're going to be proposing some sort of window protection in the means of these vinyl screens or stickers in this case. The reason that birds crash into the window is because they're seeing the outside world reflected back towards them, and they can't understand that that's not an actual area that they could fly to. So these dots or the birds that you see on the bottom are a way to kind of break up the reflection and prevent the birds from actually looking directly into the window and flying into them. So we're going to be adding these to the window of the building to prevent those collisions itself. All right, next slide.
Thank you. This is Eric Zackerson, architect for the project. Andres and the team asked me to give a little bit of a timeline of the different designs we've been through. Project was started in May of 2022, and given its unique configuration, we immediately recognized the opportunity to design a project that would be zoning variance free, and we believed at the time to be rather quick and hopefully a successful project. We had a meeting with the BPDA. There were in September of 2022, there were 22 units, and they showed 33, and we showed 33 parking spaces. This was, as I said, a variance-free project. The BPDA asked us to make a few changes to increase the green space, and we met with them again in February of 2023. We presented a project at that time that had 20 units and 30 parking spaces, again, with no variances, no zoning variances. The BPDA asked us, and then they were called the BPDA at that time, they asked us to take a step back, and could we possibly take it down to 14 units and under 20,000 square feet so that it would be taken out of the Article 80 process. We were not given a great solid reason for that, but they were not comfortable with the number of parking spaces that the zoning code required. So 3 weeks later, in February 2023, we issued a drawing set to ISD to show a 14-unit, 25 parking space building, which had one commercial space on the ground floor. After that was reviewed in September of 2023, we issued a new drawing set that reduced the parking a little bit, as was requested by ISD. And then in October of 2023, we issued a third set where we removed the commercial space, showed 14 residential units and 25 parking spaces. At that time, we were given a more information letter confirming that this too was a variance-free project. And then the project went on a brief hiatus, and we have been working on a construction document set showing those 14 units and 21 parking spaces as required by the zoning code. And we are nearly complete with a construction document set for that.
Thank you, Eric. Just to add to that, we took over the project back in March of this year, and upon meeting with Eric Zackerson and his team, we decided to open up the rear on the first floor and convert that garage into an open carport, further reducing the building and bringing it to the footprint of the red outline that you see here now.
Okay. That's very helpful. Who's next? Or is that it? Nope. There we go.
I think you can actually jump to one more slide and then we'll let, yep, awesome.
Hi, everyone. Kevin Queddy with Boston Civil. So yeah, this project, as described earlier, is just a wooded lot that we modeled in fair condition. So we had a time of concentration from a stormwater standpoint factored in because of the 3.5% over that length of travel. And additionally, you'll see to the west of the property, there is a parking lot with a catch basin. But obviously, based on the topography going through there, we believe that may have overflowed or may not be in condition that keeps the water on their property. So essentially, what we did to address that, first off, was we are proposing to improve the condition of that landscaping along there. To provide a swale, factoring in a new sidewalk into the elevation of that swale. And then the remaining side of that swale would be an improvement to their property that the client is proposing to direct that south, eventually making its way to the wetland. So so from that point, that made the the rate of runoff difficult to achieve. So because we're proposing to raise the grade at the back of the lot where that parking is, we're using 36, retain it chambers that are concrete structures, which were utilized to raise the grade there, but also to prevent any lateral infiltration because those have concrete sidewalls. So we are capturing and holding the 100-year storm event, and we did provide an emergency overflow out of that manhole, which the 100-year storm event with our HydroCAD model that was submitted demonstrates that it it doesn't have any runoff there, but we obviously wanted to allow that in case anything backed up so it wouldn't spill over the walls. So I'm happy to answer any other questions, but we do have also, forgot to include, we have a 30-inch drain main. So we haven't been able to put a catch basin in that driveway. So essentially we have two 4-foot, two catch basins with 4-foot sumps that are collecting that water before going to the systems. And then the entire roof is going through one 8-inch downspout, or sorry, roof drain. Does anyone else have any questions on the drainage aspect of that? We had looked into the an overflow condition where it wouldn't hold the 100-year storm, but you know, it took up some space, and we obviously wanted to go a little bit beyond for the wetland.
Okay, thank you. We'll get to questions in a minute here when you finish your presentation.
Yeah, so we'll just finish up with just the shade study as this was requested also on the site walk. These are just models of how the building is going to be proposing and casting shadows onto the adjacent lots or onto the lot itself. This you're looking at is June. This is the one time at the 9 a.m. hour where we're going to be casting a shadow towards the wetland itself. Every other shadow that we see is going to be either contained on our lot or is going to be cast away from the wetland. The wetland is shown down there. You can see the two dotted lines. This is the one that is actually going to be casting towards it. So this is June for anybody to note. Then we'll have two more slides that just show the next couple of months after that. Through September and March, longer shadow in the morning, but then pretty contained on our site through the rest of the day. And then here is December, where most of the shadows are long. Again, not towards the wetland itself and somewhat contained on our site, except more towards that 3 p.m. hour when it casts north. All right, and now I'd like to open it up to the commission for any questions or comments for this project.
Okay, great, thank you. So quite the odyssey there with the design of the building. And Andreas, you're probably happy you didn't live through all of those 3 years and you're just coming on board now.
Certainly, Michael.
I look stressed enough to have gone through all of that. Okay, so I'm going to go to parking, and I know you've got your zoning attorney on the line here, and it sounds like a variance wasn't necessary. So I think we're going to be talking a lot about the parking and how close it is to the resource areas. Interesting that you didn't need a variance, and I guess the question is, if we wanted to get you to move those parking spaces further away from the resource areas, how would that get accomplished? And I would imagine that you don't want to accomplish that at the cost of getting a variance.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, the only way it would get accomplished is,
Dolly. One minute. I gotta.
Thank you.
Okay, the only way it would be accomplished, moving would be eliminating, I guess, the first unit and raising the building up. If we raise the building up, then now we trigger a zoning variance again. So we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here.
Are you locked into that parking ratio? I assume you are.
We are, from a zoning perspective, yes. It's 1.5 spaces per dwelling in West Roxbury as of right. If we were to reduce that, again, that would be a zoning variance.
You could reduce it to 21. What do you have, 24 spaces now?
No, we have 21. We have the
have
bare
21.
minimum. Yeah.
Figures. Okay.
And we moved 4 of those spaces to the side of the building where you see those garages. There we just had to do some configuring to make it work with the grade so they can pull in and out without any problem. And that's also why we have that turning radius on that green patch, closer to the corner of the lot.
Okay, I know others are going to have opinions here. Just asking the question, assuming the parking stays where it is there a different ground cover that could be put there that would have better infiltration values?
Hi, Michael. So we had looked into that, but we do have these concrete galleys. So we had some concerns that just on top of the galleys that are interconnected, that in the colder months, that could potentially limit infiltration. So we, just didn't want to create that condition where it was going to be heaving and just not perform as intended.
Yeah, understood. Okay. Yeah, it's difficult, and obviously we need housing, and this is would be a very nice place to live. But it is in a very sensitive area. So as I said, I think we're gonna have a lot of questions. I guess for Katya, how many trees are coming down?
That's a good question. We have done a tree removal plan. It's not in this submission set that you saw before you this evening, but I can get you that number and provide it.
Yeah, I think we'd like to see that in the file. Okay, I'm going to let others take their turns here. Elena, I'll go to you first. What do you have?
Thank you. Yes. So as was already covered, we had discussed a few items on the site visit. We had asked for that tree survey and for a shadow study to be done, as well as for considerations for birds because of how active the wetland is. At this point, and I think we have communicated this to the project team. I think that our biggest concern is both how close the parking area is to the wetland and just making sure that any snow that is stored there doesn't drain directly into the wetland. Those are our sort of two primary concerns for this site.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Sullivan?
Yeah, you mentioned you have an overflow after the 100-year storm event. Where does that overflow to?
So we've set it just at the natural grade there, about a foot off of the ground, just to allow not too much erosion, but we could certainly throw some riprap in there if we're allowed, but we aren't proposing that. It was just really to capture that any emergency overflow for 100-year, which we assumed would be better than just all of that spilling over the wall. So that was really the intent there. It's not, the 100-year storm event does not overflow. It's to clarify, it's for anything over that.
Greater than that, yeah. But when it overflows, it fills up the parking lot. I mean, it obviously overflows to somewhere. Where's it?
Yeah, so in the outlet control structure there, we do have a weir, and then behind, like if that ever does overflow the weir, it would then go out of a 6-inch PVC drain pipe.
Yeah, well, the good news is the 30-inch drain line that's owned by the city will be overflowing because that's a 10-year design storm. So that'll be overflowing onto your property anyway. Do you know if you got a license to build a driveway on top of that pipe?
We've been working on it. I believe Andreas has been.
Yeah, we've been talking to your legal department, filled out the form, submitted it, and corresponded with them. We're just waiting to hear back from them.
Yeah, okay. So that's fine with the concrete chambers and all that. That works well. You're building a sidewalk in front of this, so you're going to have like 25 feet of sidewalk on Simpson Street. That's it. Did I hear you say that?
We assumed there would be future development of this sidewalk on this road.
Yeah.
So it would, we could certainly not build it and just pitch it back to natural grade. We just assumed if there was, that's how we graded our swale, just in case, there was a higher elevation to hit at the end of the swale.
Yeah, no, I was more curious about the runoff on the street. So today there's obviously a runoff pattern on that street. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but if you build a sidewalk, that's going to be 6 inches higher, more than likely, than the rest of the street. And what happens to any pattern that's out there today?
Well, there is a catch basin, just within 20 feet or so of the eastern property line at the street. So we assumed that was the original design intent of that. It's 11 feet from.
Yeah, I would just ask you, they must have a layout profile of Public Works. Just make sure whatever you build fits the city's profile of the layout, so you don't cause a problem in the street. It's very simple. That shouldn't be a problem at all. Other than that, I don't have any other questions.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Linay?
I had a question about the retaining wall. I think, as you noted, it's about, like, it's as high as 6 feet at the sort of corner where it makes the turn. And I just felt that that was awfully close to the area that's intended to not be disturbed, given the excavation that will be required for that wall. And I didn't see a detail for it, but is there some thinking there about how that would be, how the construction of that wall truly wouldn't disturb that 25-foot buffer area?
Yes. Sorry. Yeah, we thought about that. A lot of retaining walls, they step in. So we actually talked to our structural engineer, and we can certainly provide the details for that as well, where we're going to do CMU block walls that can be truly vertical, and don't need to step in, which requires, therefore less excavation. We can excavate exactly where we need to set it up, and we don't need to excavate more because we're able to have a footing and then build a true vertical wall. As opposed to with most block walls, like Ready Rock or stuff like that, where it steps back and it's about 3 feet wide and requires a lot of space. So it'll be concrete masonry unit filled with concrete and rebar for structural strength.
Okay, yeah, I mean, and I think just the footing itself, I think that often excavation for that work is, tends to be fairly, take up a fair amount of space. So that was part of the concern too. And then I think on the grass paver, knowing that those often, because they dry out so quickly, is there an irrigation strategy for that area? Of course, I'd love to hear about the knotweed treatment from Tom. And then my last question, let's see, sorry, was the trees that are being planted in that non-disturbed area, are they getting watered during their establishment period?
Yes. And also I'm sorry, Katja, go ahead.
That's fine. I think we would intend to have irrigation on site for all the plantings, including probably the creeping thyme in the turfstone pavers. That doesn't really require very much irrigation, but and it's at a low point in the driveway, so it might collect a little bit more water than some other places. But is there an establishment period for the trees that would be planted within the 25-foot resource area that is desired? And then we can ensure that that happens, like a maintenance period or whatever.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Wilson?
Yeah, no additional questions. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Conan?
Thank you, Chair Parker. Appreciate the consideration for the bird protection there, given that wetlands do tend to attract more birds. Of the 3 designs shown, do you know which one is the most effective? Have there been studies?
I don't know what is most effective. I think they all are effective in their own way. I think it's really also kind of up to whoever's putting them on the windows for aesthetic purposes as well, which they'd rather. I think we're looking to put the bird stickers on. That was what we'd be looking to, I think, propose in this case. And if you go to either like an Audubon Society, you can see those same stickers on the window. So if the Audubon Society is using them, they have to be fairly effective at preventing bird collisions.
That makes sense.
Excuse me. Could I ask a question as an abutter?
No, we're actually, we'll get to public comments once we get through the commission here. So just a few minutes.
Okay. Sure.
Just one more question. With the parking being so close to the resource area, I didn't catch if the pavement is going to be permeable. Is it?
Go ahead, Kevin.
Kevin partially answered this before, and it was suggested we try to or explore permeable pavers, but unfortunately we can't because of the subsurface infiltration. Well, stormwater storage system that's below wouldn't be conducive to using permeable pavers above.
Yeah, and we had also put in the turnaround area there grass pavers, which we conservatively modeled as impervious area, but that would also help, infiltrate some water.
So there will be a storage system below that, and that means the pavement can't be permeable?
It does not necessarily, it's just the concrete system we're using is a large surface area, so we just didn't want to trap water there. So when in the colder months, it does, it doesn't infiltrate and then it could just heave. Because these systems are pretty close to the final surface grade. So, we're really trying to maximize our stormwater infiltration. The water's all going there. It's just how it gets there is not directly through the ground.
I see. Well, I mean, I know this in the modern cars, it's not so much of a problem, but if oil leaks from the cars and water carries that oil into the soil and into the resource area, that would be something you want to try and minimize, right? So maybe the choice should be to just say they have to be electric cars. They probably have some leak too for whatever lubrication they use, but it'll be much less than from regular cars. Given that the parking area is so close to the resource area, that is a concern. And whatever you can do to mitigate the flowage of any petrochemical products into the resource area, that'd be.
Kevin, is there something we can do with, we have an oil and gas separator, right?
Yeah, so but in the garage area that has a separate separator which goes to the sewer. And then also we currently are showing catch basins with 4-foot sumps and hoods. But I believe we actually that was because we had conservatively modeled our impervious area as our infiltration rate. But that was actually going to be an upgrade to like a storm scepter or similar. We hadn't updated that in the plan previously, but that will be also permitted through the Boston Water and Sewer Commission so they can, sign off on those final designs. And we've already gone through one round of review, and we're just kind of waiting on some other documents from plumbing engineers and other things like that. So
I see. Thank you. That's all, Chair Parker.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Estes Margiazzi.
I'm interested, was struck by the fact that, what's currently on the site is, while invasive, primarily vegetated, and, you're moving to essentially all hardscape and hard roof. Consideration for green roof, low reflective roof for the
TPO roofing.
Sorry, say again?
Sorry, we're going to do white TPO roofing.
Okay, thank you. It wasn't clear about the let's say at the level of review I got to ancillary services, trash. Site seems very tight for 14 units. How are you handling garbage collection, snow management, and so on the site? What's it look like, on various days of the year?
Yeah, so the garbage collection will be handled by a garbage service. It's 14 units, so we cannot curb the trash. There is a trash room right next to the loading bay, where a dumpster will be rolled out, and then it'll be loaded up into a dump truck, and that dump truck will leave again off-site. When it comes
so trash is all inside the building except when it's being removed.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And then both trash and recycling, we made sure that we have a sizable room there. And then for snow removal, we did a calculation of the available snow storage area. Kevin can elaborate a little bit more on that.
Yeah, so we had updated it to show those areas on our latest set. We along the east side of the driveway, we estimated that to be about 600 square feet of area for this, and in total, it's about 6,500 square feet of snow that would be collected. And then also an idea would be put it under the loading area where it would have go to the drain for the sewer, but that could help, avoid sending some of those that sand or any kind of winter protections there to that sewer where it'd be have the oil gas separator inside. And then lastly, we did end up having some parking at the corner of the wall where it does do that 45-degree bend closest to the buffer line. But we actually decided that would be a good location to do those compact spaces, just to try to get a little bit more feet there, landscaping, and then also provide some snow storage.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Herbst?
Commissioner Pomodoro?
Sorry. On the snow storage, I'm not certain I understood what you just said. Are you, at least on the plan I'm looking at, it looks like you're proposing snow storage where you are proposing landscaping. Is that true?
Yes.
So I guess I'm not the expert, but that doesn't sound like that will go well together. So I have a concern about that.
So
And sorry.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Herbst. We can also, in addition to that, store snow in the loading bay that will not be used, and where there's a catch basin close by. So once it melts, it will flow to that low point with the catch basin right next to the loading bay.
If you do not use the landscaping area, do you have enough snow storage, other spaces that you've identified?
Yeah, if we could bring up a plan, maybe there is a long strip of not landscaped area along the driveway that's designated, at least on our landscape plan, we had pointed out snow storage, and I think it pairs up with a civil engineering plan. So along the right-hand side of the driveway, up until we show evergreen arborvitaes being planted,
Yeah.
there's a strip that does not have landscaping, it's gravel. And then at the end of the site in that little space, so triangular landscape space where we are planting a tree, but the ground covers around it, we've labeled that as a snow storage area as well, as it can overflow if we can't fit it elsewhere. But as described, there's also a place, a loading zone underneath, closer to the building.
If you
where the
could
loading
show the
zone is.
landscaping plan, that actually illustrates it nicely.
That would be helpful.
Yeah. I don't know.
Couple sheets before this. Yeah, one
Yeah.
more, two more there, one more before this. Might be the page right before this, excuse me, that has it labeled.
There we go.
If I don't know how clear or high resolution this is, but if there are some notes on it that point out snow storage along the right-hand side of the driveway.
Could I ask about that? How wide is that strip where you're wanting to store snow?
About 4 feet.
4 feet, I
'Cause
believe.
I guess I just wonder about the practicality of that. I've never seen a strip like that suggested for snow storage. How would you even be able to move a truck sideways to put snow there?
With like the angled plow would for small events, storms, I believe, would just
All events.
plow it off the side, I believe. But for dumping, like an actual excavator trunk, like the larger piles would be stored elsewhere.
Okay, and the elsewhere.
There's a striped zone, bottom right-hand corner of the building, in to the right of those ADA parking spaces. There's another striped zone. That's a loading zone, and
Gotcha.
we could pile it up there. And then below that, where our new light green tree circle is shown, there are ground covers in front of that tree that are low and can withstand snow storage being on top of them.
Okay. Is your loading zone where the trash is going to come out?
No, that'll come out the side of the triangle.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my other question, following up on Chair Parker's questions about parking is whether this space could be compressed some to now I'm looking at a different plan, the 23 feet or whatever it is that you're allowing for people to pull out, whether, I guess I would hope you would take a look at that to see whether,
We initially had it more compressed, but we engaged a traffic engineer from Husseini Design Group, and they pointed out that we needed that to be able to maneuver in and out easily.
Commissioner Shaponik on here.
okay, I don't think I have more questions at this point.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, just want to remind members of the public to provide public comment. Please raise your hand or type in the chat the application via the Zoom meeting platform. If you're calling in and cannot use the platform, you can raise your hand by pressing *9 and *6 to unmute yourself. Send your questions to staff via email at cc@boston.gov. So we have many comments here, and I think we have, as far as I can see, we have JD, Joanne with her hand raised, and Jake. And then there's another Jay here now. Jay posted the first comment here. So I'm wondering if Jay would like to unmute and ask the question, or we'll go through it in the chat. Okay. So let's look at this chat. So actually it's JD. Okay, I'll just read it out. And if you'd like to unmute yourself to ask the question, feel free. So this is an abutter to 24 Stimson Street. Pro-development, not opposed to the project in general, but feels like the development is too large for the property. If you need to encroach and permanently develop into 3/4 of the 100-foot buffer zone while maintaining virtually no usable, maintainable, pervious landscape green space is currently designed. And I think we went over quite a bit of that in the hearing here. And the other thing I would say is, as everyone noticed, we have a lot of questions. There's a lot of follow-up information that the commission is going to need. So we're not going to, this project won't be receiving an order of conditions this evening. Pretty sure it will be continued. So you'll have more time to send public comments in if you would like. And also your chat messages are saved and they're made part of the public record. JD also asked about open trash is proposed to be stored within the buffer area. Parking grades are proposed to be approximately 3 to 6 feet above the remaining buffer area grades, separated by a retaining wall and fencing of unknown height. It seems the open trash should not be allowed and be stored within the buffer zone and access to in a perpetual enforceable maintenance plan for cleaning up windblown trash from the remaining buffer zone. An on-site wetland should be required for the project, regardless of encroachment approval. A 6-foot tall fence with access to buffer and wetlands for cleanup should be required. So a couple of important points there. Are these going to be condos or rentals?
These will be condos.
Okay, so as far as the master deed, when that's registered, we're going to, I think you're going to need to attach a copy of the order of conditions. So future owners, future homeowner associations will know all about their perpetual maintenance conditions here. So did you want to speak to how you're going to maintain the property, especially as it relates to trash? How's that all going to be contained?
Yeah, as I said before, there's a trash room where trash will be stored internally. It is that triangle next to the loading dock. The door actually, there will be a double door going out to the driveway. And we will roll out the recycling and the trash dumpster and carry it off site weekly. So probably every Wednesday or Thursday of the week, there is trash day. So trash will be taken out weekly. As far as groundskeeping and maintenance goes, that will be built into the HOA fee where, there will be a crew coming out, especially, during the spring and fall months to do the cleanup there. And general groundskeeping will be done to make sure the area is free of trash and that no trash blows onto the wetlands. I can see the point there why the gentleman mentioned the 6-foot fence that should be required. We had an open fence because we thought, you wanted to see the wetland in the back. That's why we opted for an open fence, but that is open to discussion.
Okay. And Elena, you know about this better than I do as far as fence and resource areas. We do like to see them fit so that wildlife can travel through the fence.
Wildlife.
Yeah, generally we'd like to see about 8 inches at the bottom of the fence.
Clearance on the bottom. Okay. Okay. Oh, here's one I missed from regarding parking. Parking is our major concern. Our neighbors have been experiencing hard with this project. You are not helping. Yeah, parking is not within our jurisdiction, only to the extent that, as you can see, we are trying to come to some resolution where we could get the parking further away from the resource areas here. And then this one was in before Joanne raised her hand, so I'll just go to this. And then Joanne, looks like you want to verbally speak. What is the proposed rear retaining wall constructed of? Depending on materials and methods, construction of this wall will certainly encroach into the limited remaining 25-foot buffer zone if the development is approved as is without restriction. Construction-related activities could encroach an additional 10 to 15 feet more into the buffer zone and warrant further scrutiny, restriction. There are limited amounts of significant vegetated wetlands in the area, which, including the buffer zone at this location, provides habitat for wildlife and helps maintain a reduced heat island effect. What efforts are being proposed to reduce negative effects for both conditions, white roofs, green roofs? What efforts will be made to remediate reductions in buffer zone habitats or wildlife access into their wetland habitats? So I think we talked about the retaining wall. I'm not sure if we talked about the materials, and I think Commissioner Linay drilled in on whether you would have to encroach further into the buffer zone area. So, but if you could clarify that, I don't know who had the retaining wall question or answer.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we were, oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, I think you had mentioned providing that detail, right, in the next round.
Yeah, we will provide a structural detail, showing where the footing is and how far we need to excavate and where we will place the wall.
Okay, and you are committed to a reflective roof?
Correct. We'll use white TPO membrane for roofing.
Okay, okay. Okay, Joanne?
Yes. So I just got out of work for Mass General, but I was able to hear most of the presentation. Has this already been approved? Has it gone to the community group, or it doesn't have to because it's not, you're not seeking any sanctions? Is that correct, or?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, so then this is already approved?
The zoning portion is already approved by ISD. The last step is the commission here.
So Joanne,
So then, yes, please. I've waited long, so I just need to talk about this. I've been living here for 72 years. I'm very progressive. I like what it looks like, but I'm concerned about a lot of things. Number one, rodent control when you build it, rodent control during it. Trash rooms attract, not everybody is really conscientious. What are you going to do about rodents? We have rats here already from other construction sites. So that's a big concern. Number two is you talk about wildlife. We're the wildlife. Our street on Bennington Street is crazy. And a lot has to be done for safety. And that would be a great thing if you could help, help us with that, because you're only offering 14 spaces for 20 condos, is that correct?
No, we're offering 21 spaces for 14 condos.
Okay, so.
Can I
if-
interrupt?
No,
I'm so sorry,
No,
Joanne.
I'm sorry, I'd like to finish,
no,
please.
Veronica, one at a time. Okay.
But
I'll-
this is talking
I'll get
about
to it.
700 Bennington.
Anyway, I have some concerns. So, I'm worried about parking and the street here overall, but, safety's my concern. You know, rodent control, and blending into the community more than looking like it's a sore thumb. That's really what I wanted to say.
Okay, Joanne,
So,
just to be
yeah.
clear, I think Veronica was trying to make this point. Are you talking about 700 Bennington?
What are you talking about?
We're talking about not 700 Bennington. Thank you, Veronica.
Well, she's my cousin. She can interrupt me, but she's the only one. Thank you, Veronica.
It's
Not in my
I-
public meeting. She can. I have to
Yeah.
keep here.
Yeah, thank you for correcting me. These are just my concerns anyway, in general, rodent control. You know, I'm glad that you're offering parking, and just one question about parking. If people don't take the parking, would you ever offer that to the community?
Let me think about that, as it is condos, so we'd have to think about how that works with ownership.
Right, so if it was in a condo dock and someone could rent it out to somebody else, that's a possibility. Yeah,
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to explain to you before, our jurisdiction, we're charged with evaluating effects to the wetlands resource areas. So things like
Okay.
parking, sorts of agreements,
Yeah.
that's what you bring up with the city department, planning department, ISD, the proponent directly. There's really
But
nothing.
when do we get to do that, though? I mean, it's not coming to the community groups.
Yeah, I would call City Hall, and Elena can put in the chat, I don't know, ISD or someone's contact, but
What I can maybe do is I'll include our commission staff's email address, and then
Okay.
Depending on the specific concerns that folks have, please feel free to email us and we can put you in touch with the appropriate people in the
Okay.
city.
I think that's a creative way of using parking resources. So I have to get back to work, but thank you very much, and I look forward to meeting you all at some meeting soon instead of Zoom. Take good care. Have a great night, and thanks for the time.
Have
Okay.
a great night.
Bye.
okay, let's go to Jake. You had some comments, and I think you wanted to talk.
Sure, yep. Yeah, this is Jake Walsh. I've lived next door to this lot for my whole life, about 55 years. And I see that there have been some studies about these wetlands performed, but none of it really seems to reflect what I see living next door to it. And that's that, this place was always called the Swamp, is what that lot of land was called. It is incredibly prone to flooding, not just, I believe probably right now where the stake shows the end of this project and the condo parking lot, there's a lake. There is a ton of water back there.
Okay, was that it, Jake?
No, there's plenty more. It's been brought up about wildlife, and that area that is packed full of wildlife, thousands of birds. The only time I've ever had any flooding in my house is when that area has been messed with. The lot directly next to it was paved about maybe a decade ago, and suddenly there was flooding in this end of the neighborhood. I would assume it kind of got normalized because the wetlands did what they're supposed to do. But I see that area get completely flooded, including the street at the where the entrance would be there. The whole area, it very much gets that is the draining section of this neighborhood.
Okay, Jake. Thank you. So part of our review here tonight is we are evaluating infiltration values Commissioner Sullivan also happens to be chief engineer for Boston Water and Sewer. And he's been doing that a little while, probably, I think, just 2 years shy of how long you've lived on Jackson Street. So we are definitely taking that into consideration, and the design that's been proposed by the applicant gives us some of that information. And as I mentioned before, we're asking for more. We're going to be having another hearing on this. If that's it for you, I'll go to someone else.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Veronica, you're here for Bennington?
I am.
Okay.
But not, this conversation actually, I'm going to be honest, is way above my pay grade. We got invited to this meeting, the abutting neighbors. My concern is, first of all, the house was purchased from a family.
Veronica, I'm sorry, we're not talking about 700 Bennington yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, that's going to be the next hearing.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I should have made it clear. Okay.
No, that's okay.
Okay. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think that's it. Elena, did you get any emails?
No emails. And I think that the questions in the chat have been addressed.
Yeah, I think so too.
Mhm.
Okay.
Chair
good.
Parker?
Yes.
Just one other thing, since I know we're asking for other things, I could have missed it. I don't think I've seen it. I would like to see what the new proposed grades are. So that should be part of what we're seeing. And I will note that the definition of the isolated land subject to flooding was done earlier through an analysis. Another definition of it is the most amount of flooding seen in a year. So if Mr. Walsh and others have documentary evidence of flooding on the area that is proposed for development, that is something that, someone could submit. That's
Okay.
all from me.
I think that would be Tom, right? Tom, you're familiar with that issue.
Yes, yeah, that is definitely a section of the definition of the Wetlands Protection Act. However, I think they would need to have photos on site and actual measurements of the grade, because it is a grade-based resource area, and that's how we came to our conclusion on where it lies. Also, for the wetland itself, just to address that, I went out there. I'm a wetland scientist by trade, and I went out there and flagged the wetlands myself with the combination of a dominance of wetland species, a wetland soil, and then also topography taken into account. That's how the wetlands flags got put up, and now we're on the site plan. So I'm confident that's the correct wetland line out there. And if you have any questions on that, I also walked the site with Elena too, and I don't believe there was any questions on the wetland line when we had our site walk.
No, I wasn't raising questions about that, just noting that part of the definition of land subject to flooding isolated is actually documenting where it's been seen. Thanks.
Yeah, Chair Parker, on the flooding issue, do you know if the developer modeled what the extent during a 100-year event, where the extent of the water would be, and how they filling in that with that 6-foot wall, thereby requiring compensatory storage somewhere? Do we know if any of that was done?
Tom?
Yeah, so the isolated land subject to flooding calculations were actually taken from the project to the south, which was an RDA back in 2019.
Yep.
And that was, it had the flood elevation for the isolated land subject to flooding of 100 and then 104.6 on the Boston datum. And we translated those elevations to our current project. And we are above those elevations where our retaining wall is in our work. So we are outside of the land subject to flooding based on that RDA.
Right, but you're not, the wall isn't within the 104.6.
Correct. Yeah, it's above that.
It's above it, so it's outside the calculated flooding for the 100-year event.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Great, thank you. Okay, so Tom and team, Andreas, I think we've got a bit of homework here. Talked about the structural details on the retaining wall, more information on the trees, the redwood, the knotwood treatment. I've got the white roof, I think you already have in there. Commissioner Herbst just asked for some additional information. So feel free to consult with Elena about anything else. Hopefully
Yep.
everyone's been taking good notes here. So with that, I would entertain a motion to continue this hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Sullivan,
Aye.
Commissioner Linay,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Conan,
Aye.
Commissioner Estes Smargiassi.
Aye.
Got enough. He left. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Herbst,
Aye.
and I vote aye, so that carries 7-0. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda, notice of intent for DEP file number 006-2057 in Boston, file number 2025-024 from Goddard Consulting LLC on behalf of 700 Bennington LLC for the proposed demolition of an existing building and construction of a 4-story apartment building with stormwater infrastructure, walkways, and parking at 700 Bennington Street in East Boston. Resource areas land subject to coastal storm flowage, continued from the July 23rd, 2025 hearing. Who's here on behalf of the proponent?
Tom Schutz from Goddard Consulting is here on behalf of the proponent at 700 Bennington Street.
Okay, anyone else? You're good? Okay, so we asked for quite a few items last time on this,
Yeah,
So-
absolutely. So we'll start with our landscaping plan. We made some updates to our landscaping plan that consists mostly of the addition of 2 trees, that being 2 red oaks from the original plan. Those red oaks are detailed in the red color, one in the top left corner and then one adjacent to the concrete pad where the that's in the top right corner. We're also now adding 12 shrubs in addition to the original 8 that were proposed. Those are going to consist of serviceberry and then also 8 bearberry. We're also going to be adding a drip irrigation system to make sure that those plants are fully hydrated and thriving. We changed the seed mix to now a New England showy wildflower mix from the original New England conservation wildlife mix, and that's going to now add more of kind of a beautification to the landscaping, flowers that are natural to the New England landscape, pollinator habitat, and also maybe some wildlife habitat as well. That's going to be detailed in the dotted sections of the site plan itself surrounding the parking lot. There were just some questions regarding whether or not the building itself would need flood vents, and we did confirm that there is not a need for flood vents under the building code. Additionally, there was a potential special condition as if the proposed stormwater management system could handle 1.5 inches of rain, and we did confirm that that stormwater management system can, in fact, handle that 1.5-inch rainstorm. Finally, there was a comment as if the roof can be white. I think we're totally fine with the roof being painted white as a mitigation for the urban heat land issue. But I think those were the majority of the changes. If there's any additional questions on our landscaping plan, we'd be happy to address them now.
Okay, did you go over flood vents?
Yes, we did review the building code, and the building does not need flood vents under the building code.
Okay. Elena, what's your response to that? Is this a building code issue or is it a FEMA issue?
So I think, Tom, if you could just clarify, I think the outstanding question that we had was what the elevation is and which unit it's in, because I think that that was a little bit unclear to us. Like, I think that depending on your response to that, that'll inform whether we think the flood vent should be installed or not.
Yeah, no, so the bottom floor is actually going to be parking, so any of the floodwaters would just enter the parking lot and then also potentially the lobby itself. So there's not actually going to be any living area on the first floor where any floodwaters potentially could be entering, if that helps.
I mean, yeah, I'm just curious about this because I know that we've had other projects where even if the portion of the building that requires it based on the elevation is parking, that they've still included flood vents on the portion of the building that's parking. So I didn't know if yeah, if it was possible to still add those in.
Yeah, I think that would be totally amenable to add flood vents in here, regardless of the elevation. If the commission sees that fit, that can certainly be a special condition added.
And if, as the architect, if I can add, there, we do not necessarily need the rear garage door. Like we are showing a garage door in from the front and a garage door in at the rear. That could be left open, or if there are vents, they'd likely be in that door, which would allow the entire parking area to be flooded.
Okay, yeah, I think if the and Chair Parker, I'll defer to you and the commission on this, but I think that if one of the doors was left open, that might be a good solution.
Okay. Great. Commissioner Sullivan?
No comments.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, Commissioner Linay.
You change made sense. I wanted to just confirm, I think at one version of the plan, there was an exit from the building, like an egress down on the, like on the left side, in that sort of narrow strip. And is that no longer there?
That's still there. That is the secondary means of egress. And it exits into the 5-foot wide zone in the rear of the building.
Okay, so maybe just thinking about that planting to not impede folks if they're trying to, I don't know, the egress, if they need to be able to get to the street, just want to make sure that's clear, right?
Yeah, we can certainly place the plantings to the either side of the entrance to the building to prevent any kind of emergency exit and the plants being there, preventing that.
Thank you.
Okay. All set? Yeah, okay. Commissioner Wilson?
Yeah, no further questions. Thanks.
Hey, Commissioner Conan?
Thanks, Chair Parker. I missed the previous presentation on this one. Just curious about the wildflower mix. What's the difference between that and the conservation mix?
The wildflower mix is going to add more of the kind of showy wildflowers that you would expect to see more of in a decorative area, but also still be native to New England. And while the conservation seed mix is more of kind of grassy stuff.
I see. Great. Thank you. That's all, Chair Parker.
Thank you. Commissioner Estes Marchiazzi?
No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Herbst?
Yeah, on the flood vents, if they're required, it's something that's required on each wall. So I think at this point, I don't see a point for a special condition. The applicant believes it's not required. If ISD in the end disagrees, then there'll be flood vents. So I think my choice would be to leave it at that. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, just want to remind members of the public to provide public comment. Please raise your hand or type in the chat in the application via the Zoom meeting platform. If you are calling in and cannot use the platform, you can raise your hand by pressing *9 and *6 to unmute yourself, or send your questions to staff via email at cc@boston.gov. Veronica.
Hi. Finally. You know, I didn't realize that this was just going to be commentary from architects and commissioners, and you know, my cousin was the only layperson before me. My biggest concern, and I'm probably talking to the wrong crowd, is basically the height of this building. I thought the ZBA restrictions were like 2-family and then maybe an ADU in the back or wherever a person wants to build it. For this neighborhood, that's a single-family home. It's quite large. It's on a good-sized lot. And when the family that originally owned it for many, many years, when they sold it, and I saw that they sold it to a family, I was like kissing the ground. Thank God a developer did not purchase it. And when I welcomed them to the neighborhood, I didn't realize I was welcoming my opposition or our opposition. I know a lot of my neighbors were trying to get on tonight, but they're not here. I think one still is, who happens to be an architect. But anyway, it's going to tower over every house. We have a lot of single-family homes. I'm one of them that lead further down the block. Parking has never been an issue on Bennington Street until late. because we have people that rent cars or drive a car here, and I won't go into the long description. I think you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, what I heard was this building is going to have 4 levels, 12 units, only 12 parking spaces. So that means it's going to add to an already problematic parking situation. And, you know, just to get notice from you guys, I called the commission 2 days ago to find out when this hearing was. It's not even all my neighbors got one, and they're closer to the building than I am. So I was a little disappointed with that. But I'm thinking that I should probably raise my concerns more with the ZBA and the BPDA, because they're the ones that, has it been approved? Is it a done deal?
Yes, this is a zoning compliant project, so it won't go before the ZBA.
And they're allowing the 4 levels, where I thought they changed those or updated those probably about a year ago.
Yeah, this is to the new zoning code. This was applied for after the new zoning code was put in place.
Well, then they must have put in a newer zoning code, because this was not it. 4 levels was not the restriction, as far as I can remember. But anyway, so basically this is just, it's a done deal. My input or any of our input probably means nothing. Nothing's going to change, I'm assuming. Am I wasting my time?
Oh, yeah, so Veronica, I wouldn't say you're wasting your time. It's just, this is a different board. Again, we're concerned with the wetlands resource areas. So that's the lens through which we view everything. What you and your cousin brought up should be brought up to the city, some department.
Right.
There's nothing we can do to help you with these issues. That being said, you mentioned that you have neighbors that did not get notice. Elena, did you get a chance to quickly look through? I haven't, since Veronica said that, can you just verify that we have the abutters list and the public notices went out?
Yes, we should have proof of mailing for the project. I think one of the potential issues is depending on how they were delivered. If they were delivered by certified mail, it's possible that somebody would have to
No, it was regular mail.
It was regular mail? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see.
But what we to even get on the agenda, there's a notice in the paper which you probably don't read.
I don't get a newspaper.
Yeah, but also anybody who lives within 300 feet of the project gets some sort of certification. Then we get a certification back before we put anything on the agenda. So we're pretty certain that the public notices went out, but we can't vouch for if someone, like I do, basically recycles all the mail the minute it comes into the house.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Michael. Just 2 quick questions and then I'll get off, because I'll just get off. When would this project potentially begin? And that's going to be the big deal, because we're a very trafficy. It's Bennington Street. It's a highway. That's really going to affect and impact traffic. But how long will the project take, and when potentially will the project begin? Any idea, anybody?
Yeah,
I can say we haven't finalized filing all the building permit documents, but I would imagine that'll happen the next couple of months. We're aiming for a start date of early January, and we would, the schedule last I saw was to have construction take 1 year, 12 months.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that information.
It might get bumpy, but that's our best guess.
That's
my best guess. It might get bumped back.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody letting me speak, even though this was the wrong meeting to speak.
That's all right. It was a pleasure meeting you and Joanne. Thank you.
Same here. Thank you, Michael. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Take care. Okay. So with that, I would entertain a motion to close the hearing and issue an order of condition with, I think we have special conditions. We're not doing the flood vent. Did we need a special condition for the light colored roof, Eleanor?
Yeah, we could go ahead and add that in the prior to construction items.
Okay, what else did we need as far as special conditions here? Whoop, put it away too early. Was there anything else? I don't think so, right?
I believe, yeah, the lighter colored roof and then the planters. And my only other suggestion, if the commission wanted to still include some sort of condition related to the flood vents, is that before we draft that, we could check with the city's floodplain administrator to confirm the requirements for this building. But to Commissioner Herb's point, ISD and other other folks in the city would probably have eyes on this as well.
Okay, maybe we can let them do their job and
Sounds good.
okay. Okay, so with that, the motion is special condition regarding the planters and the light colored roof. Someone like to make that?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Sullivan?
Aye.
Commissioner Linay?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Commissioner Conan?
Aye.
Commissioner Estes Margiazzi?
Aye.
Commissioner Herbst?
Aye.
And I vote aye. That carries 7-0. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is notice of intent for DEP file number 006-2059. Whoop, I might have skipped over one. I'm sorry. I did. Okay, no, next item on the agenda is for DEP file number 006-2061 and Boston file number 2025-026 from Beta Group, Inc. on behalf of the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation for the proposed installation of shade structures, tree plantings, and associated site improvements at Constitution Beach Park, 799 Bennington Street in East Boston. Resource areas, land subject to coastal storm flowage and 100-foot buffer to coastal bank. Who's here on behalf of the proponent?
Scott Ritter, project manager, landscape architect from Beta Group, and also Elise Tripp, who's our environmental scientist from Beta.
Hey, floor is yours.
Thank you. So good evening. We'll talk about the project, DCR Project Shade here at Constitution Beach. Next slide. DCR's Project Shade is an initiative that's statewide in all the districts that DCR works in. And they're trying to create, and I'll just read this, to create a network of resilient and shaded gathering spaces across the Commonwealth parks to provide safe, comfortable, and equitable outdoor spaces for all, especially in vulnerable communities during extreme heat events. So that's a gallant vision statement, and one that DCR is really working hard to start up. And this is one of the initial projects, one of the demonstration projects in the Boston area, which is pretty great. And then this picture here shows that DCR has a great partnership with Tree Eastie. Tree Eastie is a volunteer urban forestry group, and last year they planted about 25 trees on this particular site here at this park. And this October they're going to be planting another 25 or so as part of this project, and that's one of the reasons why we're here tonight as well. Next slide, please. So just to get everyone located, you can see the beach, the nice arc crescent shaped beach there along the water. There's an existing bathhouse there that's pointed out. There's an existing playground. It's actually under construction. It's another DCR that's currently under construction. And then over to the far right, which is kind of northeast, that's the existing wood shade structure there. So that gives you a kind of a quick overview. Bennington Street is to the north, and Logan Airport's down to the bottom on the south. Next slide, please. So these next couple of plans are our initial site improvement plans that were in your package. I know Elise will start going over some of the buffer areas and resource areas and temporary impacts, but from a site point of view, you can see all these round different symbols, and those are proposed trees that are going in. The area that's kind of orange is a temporary impact, but that's going to be a proposed meadow planting area. And the meadow planting area is going to be full of native grasses and native perennials to start offering that as a nice ground cover instead of the mown lawn. Excuse me. And there's a lot of pollinator habitat going in. And again, that's another DCR initiative that they are very concerned with here at this site. The blue dashed line that's kind of along the top is Boston Water and Sewer Commission water line. So through DCR, we've started to have discussions with Boston Water and Sewer and getting where all their pipes and different utilities are. So that's what we're starting to show there. And just to the upper side of that blue line is the parking and roadway that goes through the park. Next slide, please. This is where a lot of the work is taking place. You can see again the strip of proposed meadow and native tree planting and meadow grasses and things along the parking lot. Moving in, we have an existing octagon shape. That's the existing wood pavilion that's on site. So that's in that location. And then to the right of that, or to the northeast, we're planning another very similar wood structure there to provide shade. Again, part of DCR's initiative is to provide shade for all these parks, and that's using structures and landscape. So it's kind of a neat thing. Other opportunities for improving the site for the park users, we're providing a couple additional new ADA accessible picnic tables. We're also doing some hammock posts. And again, all of this work is outside the buffer zone. We will be doing some tree planting within the buffer zone, and Elise can maybe talk about that now while we're on this slide.
Definitely. The slide is a good slide to show. So the project will involve work, as I was already mentioned, within land subject to coastal storm flowage, which is going to be the coastal floodplain at the site, as well as work within the 100-foot buffer zone. So I can kind of walk everybody through where those are located as shown on this portion of the plan. So at the south of the work area, we have the coastal beach, and we have a blue dashed line that is the coastal beach boundary. And then the 100-foot buffer zone from that coastal beach boundary is shown in the dashed green line. We also have the 25-foot local waterfront area that is in the dashed orange colored line. None of the project is proposing work within the waterfront area, so we'll be outside of that buffer zone. And as far as the land subject to coastal storm flowage, on this slide and on the previous plan, there are a couple of shaded areas. So the orange shaded areas are going to be areas of temporary impact, and that's going to be associated with plantings, minor grading, and then installation of the meadow or planting of the meadow seed areas. And then in the green color, we have the permanent impact within the coastal floodplain, and that is associated with the portion of the pathway that'll be connecting the existing on-site sidewalk or pathway to that newly proposed pavilion. So as far as work within buffer zone, as Scott mentioned, that is primarily just some tree plantings, a little bit of minor grading, and then work within the land subject to coastal storm flowage, again, was just plantings, minor grading, and installation of some seed mix. And as far as on-site erosion and sediment controls, those will be installed around areas of plantings and areas of disturbance as far as earth disturbance, so that adjacent resource areas are protected.
Very good. Thank you, Elise. You'll notice that the planting to there's planting along the main path just to the right of the new pavilion that we're planning. We did have a comment during our public meetings, public hearings. We had one in early June, I believe, and one of the comments from one of the abutters was asking that those trees that are close to the residences on the northeast side be moved further away. There's a very large willow, and then there are the close houses. So we have looked at that, and if you go to the next plan, please. Thank you. You'll see, so now these gray dots are the trees that Tree Eastie is going to plant versus what we're going to have the contractor plant up here at the meadow strips and so forth. So you can notice that there is more green space, open lawn space between the residential areas and the new trees. So we did listen to those comments and brought the trees closer to the pathway to provide more shade for people walking along the pathway and using the facility at the new pavilion. Next slide, please. Just we've talked about the existing pavilion a few times already. This is a picture of its current condition. DCR had a program where they came and redid the roof and the cupola up top. Previously, there was a red roof and a little bit of damaged wood at the cupola, so that has all been repaired. Going forward, under our construction project, we are going to take out the floor, or the concrete floor there. You can see that it's wet underneath, and it pitches from the outside edges towards the middle, towards a drain. And Elena can vouch for it not working, because when we were out there on our field visit, there was a sudden downpour, so we were hiding out underneath the area there, and it started to gather water pretty quickly, and the water was not going in the drain. So DCR realizes that, and we're going to redo that floor to have it pitch from the center outward back onto the lawn areas. And then I think DCR under some in-house maintenance will take care of some of the damaged wood around that pavilion as well. So that's a quick view of what we're doing at the existing structure. Next slide, please. And here's a drawing of the proposed structure. Again, it's the same company providing the same wood structure with up-to-date codes, meeting building codes and so forth. So we're going to be putting that in again with a concrete floor, pitching out from the center out to the outer edge. And then you can see there's a new water fill station, drinking fountain just outside, which will be fully accessible, obviously. And then a shallow walk down to the existing pathway that leads around the outside of the park. Next slide, please. And I'll ask Elise to jump back in to talk about some plantings.
Absolutely. So for the plantings proposed for the project, they're all going to be native species. And the plantings were chosen in consideration of site conditions and the coastal nature of the site, as well as in consideration of the coastal zone management landscaping plant list. That includes some recommendations from that list. And then there's going to be a meadow seed mix. So that seed mix has not been finalized yet, but as Scott mentioned, it will be native grasses and perennials, and ultimately with the goal of providing more pollinator habitat in line with the pollinator initiative of DCR.
Exactly. Great. And that's it for our quick presentation.
Okay, great, thank you. Just want to remind members of the public to provide public comment. Please raise your hand or type in the chat in the application via the Zoom meeting platform. If you're calling in and cannot use the platform, you can raise your hand by pressing *9 and *6 to unmute yourself, or send your questions to staff via email at cc@boston.gov. Okay, first quick question is, we did get a comment letter from someone. A lot of it had to do with the placement of the trees and other design issues that aren't necessarily within our jurisdiction, but she did raise the issue of ponding near the boundary between the park and her property line. Did you have any response to that? I don't know if you knew about that comment, but.
Yes, obviously, and so we did. Part of that comment was moving the trees a little further away from the houses, which we've done. And there is a catch basin in that lawn area, and yes, it is a slight depression. So there is a willow tree growing, so we know that those like water. The plants that we've chosen, I think one is the tupelo, and I can't remember the other tree species right off the top of my head, but we've thought about that and looked at plants that'll survive with slightly wet feet from time to time. So
Okay, good, thank you. So who came up with the name Project Shade?
That I
Super.
imagine would be DCR. So I think,
I love it. It's very definitive. It's take charge. We're gonna get shade. Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah. Like I said,
Um,
this is a pilot project. There's others going on in Boston and others going on across the state. So it's a
Great.
great initiative.
Fantastic. Okay, Elena.
Apologies. Yes. So for this, I think the photos that we included in the dry folder for the commission have some pretty good visuals of that flooding issue and of the fact that the water is pooling pretty badly right now. So that was really our main sort of point on this project. I don't think we had anything that we were still waiting on or any information that we needed.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Sullivan.
Yeah, it's good DCR is recognizing, let's not put trees on top of water lines. There's also a 60-inch drain line out there that I don't think you're near, but if you just talk with them, talk with the Water and Sewer Commission, make sure we don't plant trees on top of drain lines.
Will do.
It happens all the time. That's how we find our pipes. We look for the tree.
Great. Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Linay.
Can you just talk a little bit about the establishment plan for the meadow? I know sometimes it can be a little tricky. So in terms of both, protecting it from mowing and also, weeding and that sort of thing.
Yes. So we haven't fully developed the construction specs for this yet, and we're looking at different ways of sowing that seed. How the ground will be prepared and so forth. So we're trying to investigate what DCR has done and been successful at in the past. So we're trying to learn those lessons. Also, we'll be planting or we'll be using a plant protection fence. There are geese and other mammals out there. So, and we don't want people walking across. So there will be some plant protection goose fencing there. There is a wood rail fence along the back of the sidewalk separating the sidewalk and the parked cars from this meadow. So, we hope not to get people just rummaging right through. So that'll be a good thing. Watering, I know we've talked to some of the people who take care at the site out there, and I think they're willing to help water and take care of things. And we also will have a 2-year extended maintenance contract as part of our construction contract, excuse me. So that'll help, get a landscape company out there to help maintain things as well, pick up trash, keep weeds down, and so forth. So.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Commissioner Wilson.
Yeah, just in terms of the moving the trees around, co-locating around the path, that makes sense. I guess in terms of the spacing for them on center, some of those trees that you have spec'd out could grow quite big, especially, given less potential disruption in a public park type of thing. What is the spacing on them, and sort of given their eventual canopy size and that type of thing, how do you see that playing out time?
Well, we certainly don't have like a standard 35-foot on center kind of thing, because it is a park. We want it to look natural. We want it to look like, trees have been there for a while. We certainly look at the proposed canopy dimensions of the trees that we're picking and try not to crowd the branch, think of things 30 years and crowded branches. So that's the way we kind of look at laying out the trees on the plan. And we have to give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room out there. And if we have to move something 5 or 10 feet to stay off that 60-inch, drain line, then yeah, we'll do that and move things around. So we have to remain a little flexible with that.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I was just thinking there's some really big swamp white oaks around, and they could, who knows whether both will make it type of thing next to each other, but
right.
I guess as part of that process, sort of maybe what you were alluding to is the sort of like, landscape architect, certified arborist or whatever is going to place in field, given this as a guideline type of thing, as opposed to.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Commissioner Conan.
Thanks, Chair Parker. appreciate DCR for partnering with a local organization like TreeSD as they're connected to the community really well and can serve as a nice bridge here. And good to see the tree plantings already happening there and the new ones proposed. On what basis was the location of the gazebo decided? I couldn't tell because it's looks like it may be closer to the house and trees, whereas there's more areas that is left out that could use more shade.
Yeah, I think DCR went through a pretty good public process, reaching out to different people around the area and users at the park. And I think there was some meetings that took place that helped guide where some of the options for the placement would be, and DCR ended up choosing this location. It's not too close or right on top of the existing one. It gives a little separation in case different groups are out there. You know, you don't want them right on top of each other, so it spreads that out a little bit.
So this is the optimal location that they came up with, or was it more what people wanted? Or both?
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I guess I really can't speak to that as well as I should.
But it's good there was community process.
No, there wasn't.
Okay.
No.
Hey, hold on a second. We'll get to you. Just a few
Okay.
minutes. Thank you.
And you know how there's some modern umbrellas. I realize there's a gazebo. The umbrellas you see these days come with the provision of sort of like adjustability as the sun moves. And some of the gazebos provide shade, but for a very limited kind of time. As the sun shifts, suddenly you're right under the gazebo, you're still not in shade. Is there any kind of new thinking around that to provide more shade for more part of a longer summer day?
It's not part of what we were asked to do for DCR, no. So I really can't speak to that.
Even though this is Project Shade. All right, that's all, Chair Parker. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner S.S. Margiazzi. You're muted.
Thank you for letting me know. I don't have any wetlands related questions on this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Herbst.
No questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll go to public comment now. Jane, you had your hand up first.
Hi, thank you so much. I just want to emphasize what I've heard earlier about the location of the second pavilion. I really didn't understand the placement of that from the diagram that you showed because it's kind of small on my screen. So could you kind of return back to that and point out where that second pavilion is going to be located? And I'm really glad to see that arborists and wildlife experts are involved in these new plantings, but I'm concerned about the placement of the second gazebo.
Sure. Can we go, I forget what the slide number would be, but it's a few back.
Back. Yeah, right there.
So,
in relation to the existing one.
So I don't know. So I'm trying to point, but I don't know if you can see my mouse. I don't think you can.
I don't think so either.
No. So the existing gazebo is, you see the three trees in the lower left? It's kind of a triangle shape.
Yes.
So just up and to the right, that's the existing. Yes, right there. Thank you.
Oh, I see.
That's the existing shelter. And then I don't know if it's 100 feet or so to the east, to the right, that's the new shelter there.
Okay, so the light gray one is the existing one. And
correct.
And the bolder printing one is the new one.
Exactly. And then that has a small curvilinear walk that connects up to the existing pathway.
I understand.
On the right. And then there's the open lawn with the proposed trees, and then the residences further to the east.
I understand now.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Jane. Leanne, you were next. and then Cindy.
Hold on. Okay, so here's part of my issues with some of this is I think it's great that you guys are adding benches that are handicap accessible. I would like to see a few more ramps that can get so the handicap can get from the pathways to the water on the beach. But my issue more is the existing gazebo that's there has become a place where it's party central. There's alcohol at will during the day and at night. They leave glass everywhere. It's become a place where people sleep. And part of my concern is by adding more of these things, we're going to end up with a lot more people thinking that they can come and camp out and sleep all night long on the beach. My other concern is that by planting some of these trees, especially near where that big weeping willow is, you're going to create issues in the soil right there where there is that drain, which works okay, but doesn't really take care of everything that pools in the pathways that's there. So I'm wondering if any consideration has been given to, the fact that you have such a large weeping willow on that side, what that does to the topography in that area.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Leanne. As to the first question, I mean, that's not something that's within our jurisdiction. That's unfortunate. You'll have to take that up with the city, whether it be the police department, city services. As far as the second question, Scott, could you address that?
With the low area and I mean, I guess I'm not sure what the real question is. I'm sorry. I mean,
so my question is, by planting many more trees in the area where that huge weeping willow already is, how is that going to undermine the soil that's there, and that drain that's there that is supposed to take care of all of the water sometimes doesn't keep up with it now? So I guess I'm trying to figure out whether or not those trees are going to undermine more soil and we're going to end up with even more erosion there and more water.
no, so I don't think adding more trees is gonna be an issue. It's not like it's a paved surface. I mean, the rain's still gonna fall. The amount of water is gonna be that they're gonna get there.
Right, but you are going to repave if where you're putting the new gazebo is, you are going to pave that area, and that's right now an area that absorbs some water.
Scott, I'm sorry to break in, but I think Gina or from DCR. Just put something in the chat here that might be relevant to this conversation. We may want to change the revised planting plan.
Okay.
Change the slide to the next sheet.
Oh. Yeah, go one. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yep. So
that's the newer layout. So the trees, have been moved closer to the walkway. So I don't think, planting those trees is going to do anything with the willow or cause any problem. We could certainly look at that drain a little bit. I'll talk to Jenna about that at DCR and see what we can do about, if there really is a problem or what the problem might be.
You had made a comment earlier, and I shook my head, and I apologize, but you had made a comment that we were all notified about a meeting in June, and we were not. And I'm a direct abutter of this area right here. And my concern is that this is going to become a safety issue, because although we put a whole bunch of money into this, what ends up happening is the kids run over it at night. And I know that this isn't the group that can handle that, but the kids run through it at night and they start fires. We just had a fire in the house next door from somebody flicking a cigarette, that one of the tree limbs came down. And DCR has not exactly been great about fixing stuff that is breaking. We had a tree fall that was on DCR property that came down on the fence along behind the house, and it's been 3.5 years and the fence is still not fixed.
Okay.
So my concern is that this is going to just be a place for more people to sleep overnight.
No, understand that again, that's not within our jurisdiction, but representative of DCR is on the call here, and I think they're hearing you. So I would suggest reaching out, and hopefully DCR would reach out to you to talk about those concerns.
Absolutely. I can share any contact information they would like.
Okay, thank you. Cindy, I think you couldn't raise your hand, but you would like to speak, and you're with David and Sharon. I don't know if they want to speak as well, but Cindy, why
Yeah.
don't you?
Thank you,
Your turn.
Commissioner Parker. I appreciate it. And yes, my neighbors are here with me. So we're all together at the dinner table, so to speak. I was in fact the person who had sent in the written testimony, and I appreciate the commission taking that testimony, knowing that a lot of the issues are not under your jurisdiction. I know really there are only two concerns that you have, but unfortunately, I'm not aware of any other additional opportunity for abutters to have an opportunity to speak of their concerns. The design changes that were mentioned, I think were based on the testimony I had sent into the June DCR meeting. They don't match at all what I had suggested as a proposal. I am concerned about the flooding that occurs in that swampy area, but that's already been raised, so I won't beat a dead horse. What I'm hoping could be considered, and I understand that Jenna Johnson, Jenna, I apologize, I don't know you, but what would be really nice, since there is no other forum for abutters, is if the DCR would consider meeting with us. Most of the neighbors did not receive notice. Some of us did. Many of us, for whatever issue might have happened with the mail, did not get that. And we would all like the opportunity to have our voices heard and see if there's a way to compromise on some of the plantings. So thank you very much. And if I can turn it over to Dave and Sharon.
Hi, this is David. My concern is Leanne's concern about the new gazebo. Now, I'm looking out at the beach right now at the original gazebo, and there is plenty of land to the left and beyond that gazebo going towards the bathhouse. Why would you not put the gazebo down there? Why are you putting it so close to our house? We have to listen to this noise every weekend from the people partying in inside that gazebo, like Leanne said. Move it down towards the bathhouse. Now, is the DCR person listening to this?
Yep.
Hello?
Yep. And yeah,
So
she
why
is.
can't you move it down?
Yeah. So
And
again,
and the trees.
yeah.
Because all the trees are going to do is bring more people that are going to barbecue underneath them and more noise, and we're going to be suffering every weekend that it's hot.
Okay.
And by the way, do any of you people have a house on the water? Or have a water view? Do you?
I'm not sure it's relevant, so I don't.
No, because if it is relevant, I bought this house 35 years ago for the one purpose of seeing the beach. And now you're going to take it away with trees. When you could put them down the other end near the ice skate.
Okay.
Has anybody considered that? Or you don't care?
No, it's not that we don't care. That's not within our jurisdiction. As I've been trying to
it's
say,
the
we're
DCI
concerned with. Please let me finish. I let you finish.
Go ahead, finish.
Our jurisdiction is on the alteration of buffer zones and wetland resource areas, the impacts on wetlands resource areas, and that's the plan we were presented with. So we are evaluating the impacts based on what we have here. It's not unless the gazebo was adversely impacting wetlands resource areas. We could theoretically ask them to move it. Please let me finish. We had a deal. You let me finish. I'll let you finish. Okay. So unless it's spinning off adverse impacts, it's not something that's within our control to say, hey,
Well,
move that.
I guess our gripe is with the DCI.
Then we're going to move on to someone else. Go ahead, David. I think you're finished. Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Okay.
Is that a consideration? Would we hear if we can have a public meeting in person with the DCR?
That's going to be up to DCR. I have not seen a response here, but Leanne gave Jenna her cell phone number here.
Okay.
And it looks like you have the venue right there at the kitchen table. Maybe they'll come over there with some plans.
They're always welcome.
Okay, okay,
Can have it at the old gazebo.
there you go.
Thank you
Okay.
for the opportunity.
Yeah, no, thank you. And appreciate the comments. And again, our jurisdiction is limited, and Cindy, you know that. You know, we do what we can here. Okay, so with that, I would entertain a motion to issue the order of conditions and close the hearing.
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Sullivan,
Aye.
Commissioner Linay,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Sorry. Aye.
Commissioner Conan,
Aye.
Commissioner SS Smargiassi,
Aye.
Commissioner Herbst,
Sorry, aye.
and I vote aye, so that carries 7-0. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next item on the agenda. Notice of intent for DEP file number 006-2059 from TRC Environmental Corporation on behalf of the Massachusetts Port Authority for the proposed removal of a section of a SIDA in caps wall, expansion and installation of a new SIDA wall, demolition of 6 buildings, construction of 6 buildings, construction of an earthen resiliency burn, it should be a berm, right? And construction of an airside vehicle service road at Logan International Airport, 1 Harborside Drive in East Boston. Resource areas land subject to coastal storm flowage and 100-foot buffer to coastal bank. Who's here on behalf of the proponent?
Hi, Massport. This is Brad Washburn. And with me tonight, we have Payson Whitney from TRC, who's going to be going over a few slides. And then Payson and myself and Chris Bush are here to answer any questions.
Great. Okay, floor is yours.
Good. Yes, thank you, commissioners. We actually have 2 separate notices of intent here. This is the first one. This is the North Service Area Optimization Project at Logan Airport. If we go to the next slide. So this is an overview. The North Service Area is in the northwest corner of the airfield. It's basically just due north of the new Terminal E, and the fuel tanks and the economy parking for those that are familiar with Logan. You go to the next slide. The North Service Area it's exactly what we say. It's a service area. It facilitates a lot of the maintenance of vehicles and equipment that operate the airfield, as well as snow removal operations. Flight kitchens are there that provide catering to the various airplanes that are departing out of Logan Airport. And there's also a bus depot in there as well. So the purpose of the project is it's a holistic project to really improve that North Service Area, to really better facilitate aviation support, primarily snow removal equipment, but also part of the project is to create a vehicle service road that will remove the flight kitchen vehicles from having to travel over city streets in order to get to the airfield as they do now. You can go to the next slide. This is an overview of the area there. There's a lot of buildings highlighted in here. There's hangars, buildings, facilities 2, facilities building 15. Those are largely large vehicle storage and maintenance facilities. The 2 flight kitchens are called Gate Gourmet and Sky Chef are over to the right, and the green bus depot is over to the left. And then on the right part of the picture, sorry. And then the extreme right is the Wood Island Marsh, just for context. It's a flat area. It's mostly paved. It borders on the grass infields of the airfield. There's a stabilized stone slope or coastal bank along the Wood Island Marsh shoreline, and that's not being touched as part of this project. Obviously, this area has areas that are regulated under the Wetlands Protection Act, and the project includes locations both within the land side and the air side secured areas of Logan Airport. But and I just want to reiterate, we're not doing any work to the coastal bank, as we'll show you here in a moment. That is not going to be touched as part of this project. We can go to the next slide. In terms of the wetland resource areas, on the left-hand side, the teal shaded area is an area of land subject to coastal storm flowage labeled B. That actually, the flooding source there is actually Boston Inner Harbor, in the area of Decatur Street and up through Marginal Street and up the T tracks there. On the right-hand side, we have the Wood Island Marsh, as I mentioned before, which we've indicated with some of the purple shading, as well. That is also land subject to coastal storm flowage, but that is a separate flooding source, and that's the Orient Heights Bay, Wood Island Marsh area. We have coast on that side of the site as well. We have a coastal bank delineated as a light blue line, or the buffer zone, the coastal bank, sorry, on the light blue line. And the coastal bank is a little bit hard to see, but it really follows that white dash line in the blue line right along the Wood Island Marsh shoreline. We can go to the next slide. So the major elements of the optimization project is the large vehicle maintenance facility. That is the big building in the middle of the image here. That is designed to store the large snow plows and snow melting equipment that gets used. There are a lot of snow plows, as you can imagine. It takes a large number of equipment to keep the airfield operational during snow events. The green bus depot is actually going to be repurposed, and it's going to become a fleet storage and maintenance facility in there. And then along the Wood Island shoreline, Massport is committed to constructing an earthen resiliency berm. And that was a solution that came out of the city's coastal resiliency solutions report back in 2022. So Massport has agreed to take that on. The vehicle service road is the light gray line that you're seeing in the foreground of this photo. There are also some ancillary buildings that are being constructed as well, and some site improvements. The site improvements include like the fueling island, and then the relocation of the SIDA wall, SIDA. That stands for Security Identification Display Area. That's the blast wall that denotes the land side versus the secured air side of the airfield. We can go to the next slide. So we have a number of jurisdictional activities. While the project is very large in about 49 acres of the North Service area, there's only a portion of it that is within jurisdiction of the Wetlands Protection Act. And the activities that we have are listed here. Like we said, they're in the buffer zone or in land subject to coastal storm flowage. We have exploratory borings that we're doing. Borings are exempt, but the access actually is through a paved portion of land subject to coastal storm flowage over by Lovell Street. The resiliency berm, the service road, and a lot of the things that I just noticed or described in here. There are some buildings that are coming down as well on the more western side of the North Service area, and those are going to be to facilitate the new large vehicle building. Some of the ancillary buildings are supporting FAA operations at the site at the airport that help maintain the airfield. There's a sand shed and a salt shed that will also be relocated into new facilities there. And then obviously there's underground conduits and utilities that will feed a lot of these buildings. We can go to the next slide. These are two of the sections that are in the plans that we submitted showing the resiliency berm. In the left-hand one, you can see the red dash line is the existing ground. We've noted where the top of bank is, and the toe of the slope is going to be set back approximately 2 to 3 feet beyond landward of that. And then the berm will be built up from there. On top of the berm, there will be a chain link fence. There's a chain link fence along that edge of the airfield as it stands now, and then a similar fence will be placed on top of the berm. The section on the right-hand side shows where the berm will actually be butting up against the vehicle service road. Same condition, the slope changes a little bit in terms of the berm, and then it butts right up against the road on that side there. On the water side of the berm, it's going to be an armor stone construction to help resist any incidental wave attack that may come in large storms. And on the crest and then on the landward side, it would be vegetated with a grass mix, and we provided all the details on the mixes in the notice of intent. We go to the next slide. We have a couple tables here just right out of the notice of intent that show the estimated impacts in the buffer zone on this slide. The next slide is the land subject to coastal storm flowage areas. As you can see, there are some temporary impacts. The in terms of the buffer zone impact, the biggest impact, almost half, is the resiliency berm, placing that berm along the shoreline there, between the coastal bank and where the vehicle service road would be. And then obviously in the pavement installation associated with the land behind the vehicle service road and the service road. So it's about 119,000 square feet of permanent impact within the buffer zone. A lot of this area is already permanently impacted as well, just due to its current nature. We'll go to the next slide. Shows the land subject to coastal storm flowage. Obviously, this includes the two areas cumulatively, and most of these impacts are on the western side of the site. That's about 230,000 square feet. Again, all areas that are developed. We go to the next slide. And so we did go through, we highlighted this more in the NOI, but the performance standards for the coastal bank and for the salt marsh have all been met. We are, just to reiterate, we are not working within these resource areas, only within their buffer zones as part of this project. The project protects the interest of land subject to coastal storm flowage. The one from Decatur Street, we're at the extreme landward end of it. A lot of that portion of the North Service area is already protected by the blast wall. So the ability for floodwaters to get in there is somewhat limited, and obviously they'll continue to be a blast wall in that area, the side of wall there. And then to the extent practical, it is a redevelopment project. The stormwater design has been designed to meet the stormwater standards. I believe that's it for this presentation for the North Service area.
Okay.
I don't know if the commission wants to handle this one separately from the West Outfall project and go through the process one at a time, or however the commission wants to do it.
Yeah, we have to open up two separate hearings.
That's what I figured. Yep.
Yeah, we appreciate it though.
Yep.
Okay, just want to remind members of the public to provide public comment. Please raise your hand or type in the chat in the application via the Zoom meeting platform. If you're calling in and cannot use the platform, you can raise your hand by pressing *9 and *6 to unmute yourself, or send your questions to staff via email at cc@boston.gov. Okay, I will let others, I know there'll be some comments here. The only comment I want to make is on jurisdictional issues that we discussed at the last hearing with Brad and Chris, I believe. I think Chet might have been on the call as well. I know that there have been discussions going on, and hopefully we'll be resolving those issues in the very near term. With that, I don't really have any questions on this, so I'll turn it over to Elena, see if you have anything.
Yeah, I didn't have any questions on this either, but I think the thing that we just noted was that we'd recommend a condition that once the number and location of borings are finalized, that those would be submitted to commission staff for review and approval before construction commences.
I assume that's okay with Massport?
Yeah, that's good. That's fine.
Sounds good. Okay, Commissioner Sullivan?
Yeah, my only question is, when do you anticipate starting this, and how long does all this take?
The construction work in the North Service area would start as soon as we receive the order conditions. We have an order conditions, and we are submitting a project notification form to Mass Historic Commission. So we would anticipate construction beginning this fall, and it's about a 4-year process to build out everything within the North Service area.
So we give you an order conditions, you'll be back at some other time to continue it, because it'll be 4 years.
Potentially, yes. Yep. If the thing is going to expire, but yes, it is about 4 years worth of construction.
So we get another bite at the apple. Good. Thanks.
And Commissioner Sullivan, it might actually drag out longer than that, so we'll definitely be back to you guys. That's, I think, best case scenario if everything lines up. And
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
All right, this is all I have.
Okay, thank you. You know what, actually, I forgot one of my questions. I'm looking at the new Boston 2030 Climate Action Plan, and you talked about building the berm in compliance or conformance or aligning with the plan for East Boston and Charlestown. I can't remember the year that came out. Had you talked at all about the 2030 Climate Action Plan and whether it would involve any alterations to the berm resiliency measures?
I'm not aware of those, that Massport has had any of those discussions, Mr. Parker.
Okay.
The direction the design team was given was to design it to that 2022 comment report that we cited. So
Okay.
the elevation's about 16, I think. Is what the top of the berm is.
Okay. Brad, do you know if you had any discussions, if there's any more recent information?
Yeah, I know initially it was based off the, the 2022 Climate Ready Boston report, but we have, we had you mentioned the jurisdictional discussion. We met with Ryan Sweat and Alice and those folks the other day, and we've been meeting quarterly with them for a while. And I know at one of the earlier meetings, we briefly discussed this project and kind of talked about its consistency with city planning, and they seemed comfortable with it. I don't know if we talked specifically about the 2030 plan, but again, we've kind of briefed them on this, and I think they seem comfortable with, the level of design that we have here.
Okay. And I know you're going to be having further discussions, so maybe you can touch base on that.
Yes.
You don't be doing anything cross purposes, right? I doubt it
Yeah.
would be, but, since it is out, should probably take a look at it. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Commissioner Linay.
So related to that is the construction of the access road and berm sequence to happen early in the project.
The road is one of the first things that will get built. So that the berm, I'm not exactly sure when the berm itself is going to be built. Look, Massport has a construction manager, Suffolk Construction, on board, and they're working out all the various phasing. But the vehicle service road is needed to be able to shift those, to shift the vehicles, the flight kitchen vehicles, eventually to the planes, but also just for internal circulation of snow removal equipment and other equipment within the airfield during construction.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Commissioner Wilson.
Yeah, no further questions. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Conan.
Thanks, Chair Parker. Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the 2030 plan. It is now out, and I think people can still provide feedback, but it's there for, and I'm hoping that there is some synergy here and connections. The berm, wouldn't it, or maybe if water does come over the berm, would it still let the water go back as the tide goes, or will it hold the water back?
If the water goes over the berm, that's going to be quite a flooding event because it's elevation 16. It's quite tall. But there are, for stormwater purpose, there are catch basins that are going to be located along that vehicle service road, and that's going to tie into the existing stormwater system that's out there and the existing outfall. So I would imagine if water did overtop it and there was that type of flooding event, that eventually that water would recede through that drainage system.
So it'll be held in for a while, and then as the water level falls again, it will recede.
Correct. Right. Unless, obviously pumps are used to move water faster if needed. So.
Yeah, that is the kind of thing I'm curious about, because unprecedented stuff is happening more and more now, as we know, and we say, well, it probably won't come up that far, but maybe it will. And when it does, what exactly is going to happen? Yeah. I ask that also from the perspective of design choice. You're building this berm in the resource area, correct?
Within the buffer zone.
Within the buffer zone, yeah. So are there any alternative designs that were explored before resorting to a berm?
Not that I'm aware of. The berm was part of that 2022 climate ready plan that was out there. And
I know with that, the 22 plan that came out, there was Kleinfelder, engineering consultants working with the city of Boston, looking at a number of options, for district scale solutions throughout East Boston and Charlestown. So the preferred option and design was developed with that consultant team and through the public process, and sort of landed on that preferred option. And so we're following along with that direction from the city's report.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So the decision of a berm, as opposed to just say a raised land that has green infrastructure on it, was it more a cost-based decision or something else? I'm just trying to understand, because it is in the buffer and more things that we don't expect are happening, what led to this decision?
Well, I would defer to TRC and their engineers, but I think primarily it's ensuring that we have a viable engineering structure that can hold water back in this location, and I believe some portion of it will be vegetated.
Yeah, that's correct, Chris. So the preferred solution that came out of that climate ready plan was an earthen berm at this location to an elevation of 16, if I remember the number correctly. So like Chris was saying earlier, really the design was to follow the intention of that climate ready plan in there. So, and it is, like I said, it's going to be on the seaward side of it. It will be stone, armor stone, very similar to what is on the coastal bank now, for protection of the berm from water inundation and waves impacting it. And on the top and on the back side of it, it will be earthen and it'll be vegetated.
Are there other implementations like this that are there for any of us to see elsewhere, anywhere?
I don't know if you could maybe clarify that question.
Has this been done elsewhere?
No, and actually this wasn't part of the original project design, because I believe this is, Chris, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's a 2070 or beyond flood pathway. So
Yeah,
for
so
the
it's a later
purposes of,
flood pathway, exactly, yep.
yeah, so for the purposes of capital planning and budgeting, it wasn't part of the original project design. I think thought we were doing a good thing by pulling this in. So it might be one of the first actually implemented in and around this area or within the city in general.
Yeah.
I see. One last question. The other land subject to flooding that you showed on the left top from the Inner Harbor, where exactly is it from? Is it from Chelsea Creek or somewhere else?
I think it comes down the Greenway, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It does, yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's emanating, Commissioner, from the Border Street and Lewis Mall location. So, as you're probably aware, City and Massport are working collectively together on implementing flood protection measures to keep floodwater out of that Lewis Mall, Carlton Wharf area. That's subject to that HMGP grant. And I believe Climate Ready is also working on measures to deal with the flood pathway from along Border Street. So the intent, I think, long-term for the city is to really take this floodplain off the map altogether through those shoreline district scale measures in those locations.
Yeah, I mean, after we do those projects, we could redo a letter of map amendment or map revision to FEMA, and hopefully these would come out of the floodplain, which would be great.
Right.
Meaning
Actually, some of the
more even-
buildings that are actually being demolished that are within the map floodplain, the buildings themselves, the floor elevation is actually above the elevation, the base flood elevation. So, and they're just going down to grade. They're not pulling the foundations out as part of that web. So.
Mhm. So if those Border Street kind of plans are implemented, then this land wouldn't even be subject to flooding.
Yeah, those are the primary flood pathways, exactly.
Actually, this is my last question. The plan here, is this being done in conjunction with the city's 2030 plan, or is Massport's projects not included in that?
I'm not aware of any engagement on the 2030 plan. I just see that I saw some writing on it this week, and I see it was issued this summer. As I think Brad noted, we meet regularly with city staff, resiliency staff, on coordination in these measures. So honestly, I'm a little surprised about this, that we were not informed of it, or there was not any engagement on that front.
Yeah, maybe there is an opportunity for more engagement there, Chris, but
yeah, most definitely.
Thank you. That's all, Chair Parker.
Thank you. Commissioner Estes Smargiassi.
At this point, no further questions. I gotta defer to Commissioner Sullivan on if there's any flooding issues associated with rainfall runoff or overtopping and getting it off Massport's property, as was raised earlier.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Herbst?
I had a couple questions about the berm. Did I understand you to say that you're using stone that will match what's on the bank currently?
Just similar. I was just saying similar, like armor stone size.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause I think that what I read in your application was erosion resistant aggregate, which sounds quite small
Yeah.
to me.
No, I think it's gonna be larger stone. Yeah.
So we don't have any sketch for that, or I guess it'd be
We
good to
don't,
know.
we,
and
no,
what
we
you're
don't,
planning
Commissioner,
for.
at this point. The design team is actually going through that analysis right now. Part of what they need to be able to finish that is those borings that we mentioned, because they need to figure out, make sure that the thing, obviously they don't want it to settle as part of just from the added weight of the soil and the armor stones on there. So that's part of the design that's being done right now.
Okay, I would think that would normally be something that would come before us as part of the application. The other question I had, and I can't tell that well, it really was just looking at Google Earth, but it actually looks like there's a lot of vegetation in this right along the top of the bank, including maybe sizable trees on the towards the, I don't know what that is, more northeast. I just wondered if you could talk about, are you needing to remove a lot of vegetation, and what will happen there?
Yes, I know, Chris, I think please weigh in as well. But Chris and I did a site visit out there in early May, and it's a lot of scrubby type vegetation. They're not a lot of, I wouldn't say trees. I would say they're probably some invasive. I remember seeing some sumacs that had kind of grown fairly large, if I remember correctly, out there. But it's a lot of like lower brush type vegetation that's there. And then the stormwater features that are there, are obviously grasses and those types of things. And that part of that stormwater feature is being removed, and the stormwater is being redirected to the new stormwater system. Chris, I don't know if you have anything to add about the vegetation out there.
I think most of it came in after the Green Bus Depot project about 12, 14 years ago. And yeah, as you noted, it's mostly it's weed trees that have come in, along the fence line there. So that's primarily what the majority of the vegetation is.
So are you planning to take all that out, and how are you going to do it in terms of the bank and so forth?
Yes, it would be cut down to grade, and then the berm would be built over the top of it. So.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think we've got, the existing sort of revetment bank. There's an existing fence set off of the bank, and then most all that tree and vegetation is on the other side of the fence. So it's not coincident with the top of bank.
But you will be, the berm will be seaward of the fence. It's in the area where you are intending to do work.
Yeah, just given, I think, and Payson, correct me if I'm wrong, we just have limited real estate out there to run that bank alignment. So it does need to go through that berm alignment. So it does need to go through that area.
That's correct. Yeah, we're really pinned in the existing flight kitchen is really what pins everything in there in terms of being able to get the access road. As it stands now, the flight kitchen catering trucks actually have to go out down Lovell Street and around past economy parking into the north gate. And part of this project is to enable those vehicles to be able to stay within the air side of the airfield, so that they're not, clogging up the city streets. So it is a really limited area. It's the flight kitchen that's closest to the water is the one that's limiting the location, as well as some of the other infrastructure that's out there now.
And Payson, there was a landscaping plan as well. I believe there are additional trees going in or vegetation going in as part of the project, but not within jurisdictional areas.
There's within the obviously there's the vegetated berm, the resiliency berm, but also On the western side of the area around where the large vehicle building is being built, there is a fair amount of new landscaping that's being put in there. That is partially within that land subject to coastal storm flowage, the one that comes up from the border street area.
Mhm.
So that is within the jurisdictional area. So
Okay, well, that answers my questions, but I do think w- w- we're really not seeing what we ought to be seeing on the berm detail. Thanks.
Okay, so what's your suggestion? What would you like to see? Well, you want to see more detail, but are you looking for a revised plan?
I mean, I think it's unusual to this commission does take things after the fact and just let the staff look at it, and we can do that. And if the commission wants to do that, I'll go with that. But I think it's just unusual to not to not really know what the plan is. So I'll leave that to others, I guess.
If I may, through the chair, I think that would, yes, I have seen others who are making such significant changes to vegetation show us what it is before it's considered. In this case, it's pretty extensive. So that'd be good to see.
Okay.
Vegetation.
Well, if I can understand, I think the issue here is Commissioner Herbst, you want to see the material, the the stone size. We're not talking. I don't think you're focused on removal of invasives, right?
In terms of what we ought to see, to approve a plan, I am talking about stone size. Yeah, but
Yes. Okay.
and
So just to be clear, yeah.
I think I understand from you that you're saying you can't tell us that without part of what you are is in this proposal. Is that right?
Correct.
right, I think
Yeah.
right, the final definitive, yes, we need those borings to be able to do that. But I think if that's what the commission wanted, I think we could go back and ask the engineers to give us a better snapshot of that, of what the range of that might look like.
Yeah.
I think.
So does
I'm sorry. I imagine you know or can know what conditions you're building for or planning to build for, even if that
They
what you
do,
can
yeah.
do may be affected by the
Absolutely.
borings.
Yeah.
Yep. So the issue here is, will you have the final information before the borings or after you talk to the engineer prior to the borings? Sounds like after the borings, right?
I think the final would be after the borings, correct? They need to make sure that the berm can stay where it's supposed to be. Yes, and those borings are fundamental to that. So
Okay, so Commissioner Herbst, the way we've handled this in the past, we could issue an order of conditions that says that once the soil borings are in and they've decided on the size of the stone, that has to come and be approved by commissioner staff.
Yeah, I think that's probably too. It does sound like I thought I was hearing that you do at least know what conditions you know what you would like to do if in terms of wave condition. That's something that's knowable that you could have presented.
The design team does that. Yes, they are working on that as we speak. So I'm not where TRC is not designing the berm. We're responsible for the permitting on this project. So, but they do know the conditions that they're looking to design. It's just the geotechnical is part of that solution.
So I guess what that suggests is that there could be a preliminary plan that is doable now.
Okay. So does that make sense, a preliminary plan? Brad?
Yeah. How would you like that? Would that just go to Eleanor or would it be come back before you?
Well, I think coming back before us is what we're looking for, unless Commissioner Herbst has another idea here.
If other commissioners are comfortable letting it come later, then I will live with that.
Okay. Elena, I don't see any hands raised.
I don't see any either, and we hadn't received any comments on this in advance.
Okay, so let me take a stab at this. I would entertain a motion to issue the order of conditions and close the hearing with a special condition that the preliminary plan regarding the berm and the stone size be submitted to the commission before construction and approved by staff or commission, Commissioner Herbst.
Well, I don't think there's a vehicle to have it come back before us, but in that case, it should be the final plan. It is what we should have before construction.
Yeah, no, I think that there is a vehicle. We have done that before.
Okay, if there is, then it would be nice to see it.
Yeah. Or the other option is we could it could be reviewed by a subcommittee with staff, and the subcommittee could be you and Commissioner Conan.
Sure, any of those are fine. I just want to make sure that it's something that gets a review.
I'm assuming there's time sensitivity here. Is this why you're considering this option, Chair Parker?
Well, some of it's housekeeping. It's the most expedient way to deal with this. We've dealt with issues like this similar manner in the past. And I would assume there is a timing issue, but that's not what's really driving the motion here. So would someone like to make the motion that we issue the order of conditions, close the hearing, the preliminary plan for the berm design regarding the stone size will be submitted to staff for review by staff, for review and approved by staff and a subcommittee of the commission?
So moved.
It's a final plan. Commissioner Herbst, can you clarify? I thought you were saying that if it's the preliminary plan, then we would see it in another session.
I think Chair Parker, maybe what I just might add to be clear is that the final plan will be provided to staff before construction, in addition to what you just offered.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
okay. Yeah, it works. Yeah. Okay.
I'm okay. So moved again.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Sullivan?
Aye, and I'd like to be on that subcommittee to see what's being proposed.
Okay. Commissioner Linay?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Commissioner Conan?
Aye.
Commissioner S.S. Smargiassi?
Aye.
Commissioner Herbst?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay, that carries 7-0. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Chair and members of the commission. Appreciate it.
Chair Parker,
Okay. Next item on the agenda is
Chair Parker,
yes.
apologies. Do you mind if I was just going to clarify quickly? So for the motion, so it's a preliminary plan for the berm, and that would come to staff and a subcommittee, and then after that, we would also receive the final plan. Is
Yeah,
that
no, I think it's the final plan.
just okay? So the final plan will come before. Okay, perfect. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, what you were thinking as well, as we get the preliminary, make comments on it, then we get a final, but we're going to go straight to final.
Great. Sounds good.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, notice of intent for DEP file number 006-2058 from TRC Environmental Corporation on behalf of the Massachusetts Port Authority for the proposed removal and installation of the CETA wall and area use conversion for the parking and laydown yard at 1 Harborside Drive in East Boston. Resource areas land subject to coastal storm flowage, 100-foot buffer to coastal bank. Payson, you're back up.
I'm back up. All right, thank you. We can just go to the slides here. And then you can skip over the title if you want. So yeah, so this is concerning the west outfall area of the airport. So almost exactly, due south of where we were just talking about. Right near, we go to the next slide, Elena, it's a little bit more of a zoom in. This area is actually just due south of the Hyatt hotel that's out there. So this project is, we've entitled it Enabling Works. The overall objective of this project is to move the CETA wall to the west to increase the airside real estate, for lack of a better word, in this part of the airport to enable the North Service Area project. At the North Service Area currently now, there's a lot of mobile equipment out there. There's a lot of office trailers that are in that area that need to be moved to facilitate the project we just talked about and you just approved. So a lot of this equipment is going to be moved down to this area of the airport. So there's some work that needs to be done, and part of it is within your jurisdiction. So we can go to the next slide. So this is just a few ground shots of the area. Again, it's a very flat area. You can see the Hyatt Hotel in the top left picture there. In the top right picture, you can see the side wall with the barbed wire fence on the top of it. That's the access road back to Harborside Drive. And in the bottom pictures, you can see just the general makeup of the area. It's a gravelly type substrate in the area. Some equipment is currently stored there, but from the landscapers that work at Logan. And then obviously it's right on the water, and it's fronted by the coastal revetment that fronts along that whole shoreline, along the Logan Airport shoreline. So again, areas within wetlands jurisdiction. And again, we're not doing any work in the water or on the coastal bank. We can go to the next slide. So the existing wetland resource areas, we actually had the coastal bank. The blue area is the area within your jurisdiction. We've got the 100-foot buffer zone as well. And there's some land subject to coastal storm flowage, which goes really up to the top of the existing revetment that's there. We go to the next slide. So this is the portion of the area that's within jurisdiction is the blue area. Just for context, the light, there's a thick gray line over on the right-hand side. That's the existing sidewall. It is going to be moved to the west. You see the dark line that kind of snakes its way from the top of the page near where it says 2-inch force main, and it kind of snakes its way around the trailers, then around the BWSC bar screen building, and the pavilion at the Hyatt, and then the sidewall will continue and be located just to the east of the Harbor Walk there within Logan's property. So what is being done is a new water line will be put in as well to service these trailers that are going to be moved down there. The design has been to move the trailers and keep the trailers out of the buffer zone. And then the work that's within the buffer zone is really maintaining the existing gravel area. There may be some grading in there to firm up some of the slight grades that are out there. And then really it's parking, lay down of some equipment and some parking in there. The dashed line that kind of comes from the top and runs down and back around the bar screen building is the existing easement for the Boston Water and Sewer stormwater outfall that's out there. And then I think lastly, there will be some Jersey barriers that are put up near the existing sidewall. There's a snow melting fixed equipment that's out that services that end of the airfield. And there will be Jersey barriers put around that to protect it from potential vehicle strikes. Go to the next slide. So again, in terms of impacts, we've got about 5,000 square feet just under of impact, and that's largely related to removal of the sidewall and installation of the new sidewall within the buffer zone. Land subject to coastal storm flowage, again, we've got just along that westerly edge there is where that new sidewall is going, and it kind of follows where that land subject to coastal storm flowage line is. And again, zero impact to the coastal bank, the revetment that's going to be that's out there. Go to the next slide. And again, we comply with the performance standards for coastal bank. We're only working within the buffer zone at this area, and we did purposely design it so we minimized any structures that were within that buffer zone, and then we meet the interest of land subject to coastal storm flowage. And again, it's a redevelopment project, so we met the stormwater standards to the extent practical. And I think that's the last slide we have, Elena.
Okay, thank you. The snow melter area, how's that runoff handled? And are there any chemicals? There must be chemicals involved here because you probably have to do it fast.
I believe it goes, and Chris and Brad, you may know, I believe it goes through the stormwater system for the airport. Is that correct? In that area?
I believe it's just a heating component that melts the snow. And because a lot of the snow is coming from the airfield, there can't be any sand, salt, or chemicals is my understanding, but we can get you more information on that.
Oh, it's interesting. Because when they de-ice plant, I just assumed that they use chemicals.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a separate de-icing pad, but that is a separate operation and area altogether than the snow melters.
Okay. Okay. Understood. It feels strange that the snow could get from the airfield over there without chemicals of some sort being in the snow or something, even if it was salt.
Yeah, that area is actually pretty far remote from the terminals where the planes would be de-iced. It's at the end of, I forget the runway numbers, that it's the short runway at Logan, and it's at the far end of that area.
Okay. Okay. But Chris, if we could get that information.
Yeah, I'll look into that. Yeah, I think most of the de-icing glycol is recycled there. And obviously there's a NIPD's permit on that outfall that we have to meet federal standards on, so.
Got it. Okay, good. Thank you. Elena?
Nothing on this either. Yeah, I think that the only note that we had was that we would just recommend keeping in the tree protection condition that we generally have in all of our orders, which is already in the draft.
Oh, good. Okay. Commissioner Sullivan?
Yeah, Chris, you came to us. We will now be barred with easy access to our outfall for checking it once a month in our tag gates. Did we work out something between Massport so we can get at this now that your wall is barring us from our?
Yeah, I've been coordinating with Drew Greenlaw over in operations at Water and Sewer. From what I understand, there's existing Water and Sewer Commission staff that already have airside access to get out to the north outfall. But in speaking with him the other day, I think there's additional staff, including himself, that would like to have access. So they need to work through our secure badging office to get that access set up. And need to clarify as well in terms of the vehicle, how best to be getting that out onto the airfield as well, if that vehicle needs to be certified or if it can be ushered out there with a Massport security vehicle to that location. But Cytowall, I do not think that's going in immediately. Payson, I don't know if you've got a schedule as to.
Not, I don't for this, but it is a fairly early action item. I don't think, I know like it's probably going to be the early part of next year. I understand just the mechanics of even just acquiring the Cytowall sections takes a good amount of time. So I don't think it's something that's going to start immediately.
Yeah, we should be resolving these access issues with Water and Sewer Commission operations within the month. So
yeah. So my only suggestion is because I believe we have an easement.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so we won't release the ability for you to put the Cytowall through our easement until we have an agreement. Just laying it out flat.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
On the wall, but you can't put it in over our pipe until we agree how we meet our federal standards. I mean, this isn't trying to be hard. We have requirements. We got to get out there.
Yeah, exactly. I know our legal staff has also been in contact with Henry Luthien over your way on the MOU to see if there need to be any modifications to that based upon what's going on out there. But the proposed plan for the site does not place any equipment or staging over that easement area, other than, as you noted, the sidewall alignment that does across the easement area.
Right, but I'd just let you know, well, tomorrow I'll make sure everybody says you can't build your sidewall till we have an agreement.
Yeah.
That makes everybody happy to an agreement spot.
Gotcha.
Because you know how happy we are every day, Chris.
It makes the lawyers happy, that's for sure.
That's all I had.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Linay?
So is this intended to be temporary during the construction project, or will this Cytowall alignment remain after the other work is done?
It will remain.
It will remain. Okay. Just curious. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Wilson?
Yeah, no, I defer to Commissioner Sullivan on how to best access the outfall there. It looks like a pretty beefy structure. So, yeah, no further questions.
I think they'll figure out a way.
Yeah. Okay. Big trucks, lots of trucks.
Commissioner Conan?
You can always use a parachute.
Yeah, that's an idea. Or a drone.
Yeah, or a drone.
Not at Logan.
Oh, right.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, forgot about the airport.
Subject, sorry.
So
Oh,
who's
the
the
state
abutter
police
here?
company.
I noticed in the application, there's some abutter notification. Is that Hyatt?
Yeah, and that's our property. So,
Okay, so I just wanted to hear a little bit more about the snow there. Was there a claim earlier or a suggestion that any snow that's brought there wouldn't have any contaminants to be concerned about?
I mean, the snow melters are not subject to this application, or it's not even within the project site. So again, I can follow up with from airport operations as to what is going on out there, and get that to commission staff.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
I mean, you asked the question because it was on the plan.
Yeah.
Wasn't it on the project site?
No, I think there's
east
some
of it.
Jersey barriers that are going in to protect the area, but it's not within the project site. Is that correct, Payson?
That's correct. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
currently it's that area is separated from this west outfall area by the Sida wall. And then when that Sida wall goes away, there's nothing to really protect it from vehicles that are in the west outfall area. So that's why the Jersey barriers would be put there.
Jersey barriers. Okay, makes sense. Okay, Commissioner Herbst?
No questions, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Elena, any raised hands? I don't see any.
No raised hands and no comments either.
Okay, so with that, I would entertain a motion to close the hearing and issue an order of conditions.
So moved.
The special condition, Elena, you had one.
Apologies, yes, we already included this, so it was just a note that we
That's right.
put the
It's already in there,
action
so.
condition in. Thank you.
Close the hearing and issue the order of conditions.
So moved.
Second.
You, Commissioner Sullivan,
Aye.
Commissioner Linay,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Conan,
Aye.
Commissioner Estes Smagiazzi,
Aye.
Commissioner Herbst,
Aye.
and I vote aye, so that carries 7-0.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, we have a number of continuances. Continued our notice of intent for DEP file number 0061996 in Boston, file number 2024-021, DEP file number 0062042 in Boston, file number 2025-014, and DEP file number 0062056. We'll now begin our regular meeting. First item. Wait. Where are we putting those RDAs?
Oh, they were going to be under admin updates.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. They could be.
Public hearings. So let's go up to them. And before we begin our regular meeting, let me find them. I don't see them on the chair agenda here.
Apologies, let me.
Okay. I can wing it though. I've got it in my Google file. Okay, RDAs to close. So apparently at one of our meetings, clearly one of our earlier meetings, for RDAs for 2 Saratoga Street subsurface investigation, East Boston waterfront subsurface investigation, 2 separate RDAs. We issued the determination with our with a limited order of conditions, but I didn't call, or the motion didn't include to close the hearing, right?
Correct. Yep, that was the case.
So we have to go back and close these 2 hearings. So the first one is, okay. Hopefully all the information is here. So we'll do it this way. It's a request for a determination of applicability for the East Boston Waterfront Geotechnical Environmental 2025 Subsurface Investigations in East Boston, prepared by the Boston Planning Department. And Elena, I don't have the file numbers here.
So yeah, no file numbers for them, for the RDAs. But I have the full agenda items up if I could read them into the record if that's helpful.
Yes, that would be helpful.
Perfect. Yeah. So the first one is a request for a determination of applicability from Foth Infrastructure and Environment LLC on behalf of the Massachusetts Port Authority to conduct up to 12 land-based borings at 1257 and 1263 Saratoga Street, East Boston.
Okay, thank you. So with that, I would entertain a motion to issue, actually entertain a motion just to close the hearing.
So moved.
You have a second.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Sullivan,
Aye.
Commissioner Linay,
Did you hear? Oh, aye.
thank you. Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Conan.
I don't have any recollection of this, so should I just abstain?
Sure. Whatever you feel comfortable doing. Okay. Commissioner S.S. Smargiassi,
Aye.
Commissioner Herbst,
Aye.
and I vote aye. So that carries 6 ayes and 1 abstention. Okay, Elena, could you read the other one into the record?
Excuse me, I was muted. Request for a determination of applicability from the Boston Planning and Development Agency to conduct up to 14 land-based borings located between Sumner Street and Lisbon Street, which is Carlton Wharf, and between Lewis Street and Piers Park Lane, Lewis Mall in East Boston.
Okay. Could I get a motion to close that hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Sullivan,
Aye.
Commissioner Linay,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Conan,
I'm gonna abstain from this one also.
Commissioner S.S. Smargiassi,
Aye.
Commissioner Herbst,
Aye.
and I vote aye. That carries 6 ayes, 1 abstention. Okay, thank you, Elena. Commissioner Sullivan, you're the one who's supposed to make sure that I call for the issue of the order of conditions and close the hearing. I'm not sure what happened.
Well, I was being kind, that's all.
Don't be kind.
Okay.
What
I'll
happens?
Be,
I have to go
I'll be
back.
myself. I'll be myself then, okay.
Yeah. But act like it's someone is blocking your easement.
Well, just wait till they try to do it. I mean, you know how it is. I already wrote myself 2 notes. That's what I've been doing right now. The attorneys and everything, so.
Okay, so now we're into our regular hearing. The first item on the agenda is a certificate of compliance request for DEP file number 0061712 and Boston file number 2020-011 from LEC Environmental on behalf of the Allendale Condo Trust for the vegetation restoration and invasive species management located at 200 to 232 Allendale Street in Roslindale. Resource areas: inland bank, bordering vegetated wetlands, waterfront area, 100-foot buffer to inland bank, and 100-foot buffer to bordering vegetated wetlands. Eleanor, what do you have on this?
Yes, so just to remind everybody, this was originally the restoration work. Excuse me, I think the late hour is getting to my sentences. The commission had requested a restoration plan at Allendale Condos after there had been some unauthorized clearing of vegetation along the banks of the pond. They have now completed their restoration work. They've completed the required monitoring. And as a result, we conducted a site visit and worked with them to put together some additional perpetual maintenance conditions, which we would recommend including in a motion to issue the certificate of compliance. We have the standard perpetual maintenance conditions that we see on a lot of our orders. And then the additional perpetual maintenance conditions were specifically to allow for limited amounts of pruning to ensure the continued health of the bank after the restoration work is complete, and to also allow for some additional invasives management. So I know that there's specifically one patch of Japanese knotweed that is estimated to be about 95% taken care of, but it might need one more treatment, and this would basically allow for additional treatment to be done as needed. There had also been some concerns raised by the residents about their view shed, and so the recommendations that were made by Parterre and LEC specifically spoke to how the pruning could be done in a way that, again, is ecologically beneficial and also allows for some vista pruning.
Okay. Do any commissioners have questions?
Nope.
No.
I do.
Okay.
Sorry. Just a concern.
Yes.
About, I mean, this started with the owners wanting their view shed, and
Right.
now they want pruning for their view shed. So I just wonder how I mean, I see the language. Maybe there should be a condition that they tell you in advance what they're, show you what they're gonna do. It just raises my antenna. I'm concerned that it will be perhaps considerably more liberal than intended. And that's exactly how this problem started. So
Fair. Yeah, I think in a perfect world, which is not necessarily reality, I think we would stick to our annual site walks, and during that we'd be able to discuss any management or any pruning that they want to do in the coming year, and then we've specified that everything needs to be submitted to us before any work is completed. If that ends up not being the case, and if for some reason there are miscommunications with that and there's work that goes beyond what was authorized, or if we think that this is beyond what was originally permitted in the scope, we would certainly tell them to file. But yeah, if you think that these maintenance conditions wouldn't necessarily be appropriate, that also, I mean, that would make sense to me as well. But
Well, just not to break you off here, but additional perpetual maintenance condition number 2 is all proposed maintenance work must be approved by the commission staff and Urban Wilds team. Once the scope of the work is approved, the contractor must submit means and methods to commission staff and the Urban Wilds team detailing how the perpetual maintenance conditions shall be met. So
that's pretty clear. But so do the other ones that sort of say they can do this but not that, is that?
So any work that they're proposing in jurisdictional areas has to be approved by us and by the Urban Wilds team.
So why all that other language? It's just to give them an idea of what they can ask for, or?
I think, yeah, I was more thinking that, 15 years from now, if different people are looking at this, then there's like a sense of what the original intent was as far as, what was appropriate to do either on an annual basis or every 3 to 5 years, as kind of a log that this is what was originally intended in these perpetual maintenance conditions. And then that way it's not a situation where we can just approve any, work that might be considered maintenance work. And so I think that with the recommendations from Parterre and LEC, our hope was that, this would also provide guidance to like future contractors that might be doing the work, or potentially different people on commission staff years from now.
I see. Well, and Chair Parker, as you point out, that language is pretty clear.
Yeah, it applies to all of the conditions, not even just the additional perpetual maintenance, but all maintenance conditions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's sort of on somebody, on us, on them to remember that they have to do this, or it's like any one of these things that it's
like all of our
challenging.
I think so. Yeah, in it specifies that they should be the ones reaching out to us no later than April 1st of any given year. But I think one of the good things going for this site is that it also, because of the conservation restriction that's on the same property near the condos, we would be conducting an annual site walk with them anyway. So I
Oh.
think that, like, I think that this
Oh, that's
site has
great.
less of a chance of falling off the radar, and I completely understand your concerns with that, and that's why I want to make sure that these conditions are something that the commission is actually comfortable with, and it doesn't feel like we're trying to shoehorn things in.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
also,
that
we have
helps.
Urban Wild's eyes on it as well.
Yes.
They're
Okay.
part of the condition.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that.
Okay, so with that, I would entertain a motion to issue this certificate of completion with the perpetual maintenance conditions and additional perpetual maintenance conditions.
So moved.
Do we have a second? Thank you. Commissioner Sullivan,
Aye.
Commissioner Linay,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Conan,
Aye.
Commissioner Estes Smagiazzi,
Aye.
Commissioner Herbst,
Aye.
and I vote aye. That carries 7-0. Okay, thank you. Elena, any administrative updates?
Yes, we have two of them tonight. So the first one is that the MWRA had notified us that the Chestnut Hill Reservoir has some cyanobacteria in it. We received this update on July 25th, and we haven't received any updates since then, but they said that they would be posting signs notifying that the public should not be, in the water, no swimming, no fishing, to keep animals away. And I requested that they also keep us in the loop on, if anything changes, or if there's any, action that needs to be taken that would require permitting by Concom, and haven't heard anything at this point.
I'll give you a brief update.
Yeah.
Continued sampling has yielded continued elevated results. And so we're going to continue sampling. The signs will stay up. They're all the way around the reservoir. The restrictions are what's normally in place. People are not allowed in the water. Their pets aren't supposed to be in the water, but we posted it to emphasize the health concerns. So, and staff will keep you appraised when there's any change in any of that. So don't anticipate anything other than sampling at the moment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, what else, Elena?
Our second admin update is a request to ratify an enforcement order, which we issued. We issued it for a property located at 1 Lakeshore Road. We had initially sent a notice of probable violation and didn't hear back from them. And so based on the timeline that we had set out, we then followed up with an enforcement order. This was brought to our attention because the Parks Department is doing work near Chandler Pond, around Chandler Pond rather, that was permitted last year. And there seems to be a fence that has been there for a while that is both an encroachment on city property and also is likely was built without the appropriate permitting from the commission. We couldn't find anything in our files on that. So there's both a photo and then the enforcement order in the dry folder for the commission to review. And we're just asking that the commission ratify it if they are comfortable with that.
Okay, any questions from anyone?
Nope.
Great. Okay, so with that, I would entertain a motion to ratify the enforcement order for the unauthorized alteration of wetland resource areas at 1 Lakeshore Road in Boston. Please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Sullivan?
Aye.
Commissioner Linay?
Recuse myself from this one since it's my
Right.
project. Yeah.
That makes sense. Thank you. Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Commissioner Conan?
Aye.
Commissioner Estes Smagiazzi?
Aye.
Commissioner Herbst?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So that carries 6-0 with one recusal. Okay. Thank you, Elena. Next item on the agenda is acceptance of meeting minutes from June 25th, 2025. Does anybody have any questions on that? I've reviewed the minutes, made some slight changes. They look fine. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to accept the meeting minutes from June 25th, 2025.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
Running out of gas. I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Sullivan?
Aye, but what we should have is the newest member is required to make the first motion.
Oh,
Oh,
And
nice.
the oldest running one doesn't have to do anything except in January.
Yeah, that's true. Remind me to close the hearings.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Aye.
that was an aye from Commissioner Sullivan, Commissioner Linay,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Conan,
Aye.
Commissioner Estes Margiazzi,
aye.
Commissioner Herbst,
Aye.
and I vote aye. That carries 7-0. Okay, if anyone has, unless anyone has any objections, I think we're adjourned and we can all go eat or go to sleep or whatever we need to do.
We're done.
Beautiful picture. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
one.
Yes.
Ah. Bye, Elena.
I am muted. Hello.
Hello. Do you want to stop recording?
Oh yes, good call.